1, 2, 1, 2. T.O.M. Teachers of Ahati. Who am I today? The scribe, been forever, but the name changes with the times. I come from a place where space is home. I go into realms where your face is gone. A change gon' come. As a teen, hypnotized deep in a sleep, party and slumber. 11 life path number, a life of death that's rebirth. Recall realities to reemerge. Soul purge, I'll lend you frequency like loan words. Before I teach, I'll spit a poem first. Step on stage, set the stage, car walking, set ablaze, divine fire. The body is divine attire, sown from words, sound frequency, awakening dreams. Don't pinch me every day I wake up, it's a home birth. Start from zero to become the heroes. Cycles of time causes expansion of mind. Potential is exponential. Gain XP, what your power made of. I've had to face self, face to fate, a double fate. What will I make of the present? I'm just trying to pet heaven. Twice great, 2 arms up is none to wave. It's nothing to wave. God separate the waters from the waters. Genesis 1 and 6. See, that source is thousands of years prior to a Bible even existing. It's called the pet word for heaven. Watchers of noon, primordial, pre-ordered, bringing order in order. Its law the scales will represent. A double gift, re-present, Ray is present. Ra, amen to the God inside. The crown will glow as consciousness grows. So what assignment are you on? I do my best to do my best. Lead with the left, heart out my chest. By step out of the flesh. On my crown is the Nemes, Corona shining. I do my best to do my best. Lead with the left, heart out my chest. By step out of the flesh. On my crown is the Nemes, Corona shining. Serpent mind winding in alignment. Straight from Orion, the origins. Dig into the root, Kim originals, the oracle speaking. Your aura is gleaming. The sons of God, Amen Ra. Who can't afford a reason to fall below your own means, meaning reaching beyond the firmament ceiling. I see linguistics tricking us deep into sleeping. The way we live inception, I must be dreaming. Doubles, double L, square root, mirrors, reverse the image. My grip was slipping. Almost forgot the point of the mission. Statements point out all the contradictions. Blatant truth lives where my eye is foundation. Yeah, co-founded a nation. Dictionary studies, spells can be scary. Etymology, this here is completion. Cycle circles, dualism wisdom. I peddle flowers. 2 eyes are watching to see through the double realm I'm healing. Never out of what's within him. Infinite reasons, just like my brother Arcad. Always remain calm against demons. Death culture, to be alive here, it's a lie here. They crossed us into thinking that death isn't living. The lies are falling through my palms, arm wide, holes in my hand. The Pope's in command, I demand the throne back. Ancient teachings, I'm a throwback. Picture that, see this moment here is cold that. So black, I see through lies. Why they hold that, ocean motions. I'm flowing through noon in the boats of consciousness. My tongue is rolling, planting seeds, sowing, knee of speaking, untangled quantum DNA, spitting frequencies. I hear Christians scream hallelujah, and this ain't that the name of God is God. I must bring the order back, the scales are tipping. In the court of Allah, moonshine, Tahuti is Yah. This here is Ptah, bulldozing, the one chosen. Focus, when the light hits you, just open like lotus. Melt your mind when in mind time is frozen. Blow minds, my mind is golden. Coat me in gold, I've got a gold coat round me like I'm T.O.M. Like his, when you spell my name, put 3 lines in. Scribe, presenting the law's findings. Who's he? I'm me, an echo of Tahuti. Yes, I do my best to do my best. Lead with the left, heart out my chest. By step out of the flesh. On my crown is the Nemes, Corona shining. We do our best to do our best.
Hotep. Hotep. Peace and love, everybody.
Peace and love.
Hotep. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome, everybody in the chat. Welcome back. This is Teachings of Ma'at Study Guide Sunday. Today's topic is the goddess Sekhmet. Lions remember. Peace and love. You know, before we get started, we're going to do as we do always and begin with our beautiful affirmation. Before I introduce these brothers on the panel, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Unki and Ma'at, Un N.S., Nintet Oset and Ma'at, Min Hepapet and Ma'at, Her in Huqui, Her Iku. I live for Ma'at. I exist within her. I do not speak in the place of Ma'at. Every day I advance towards Ma'at. My being is surrounded in darkness. I come forth as conscious light. Peace and love, everybody. I am. Welcome, everybody. I am the mighty ETH Rem Kim Ma'at. I am the chairman of the organization and the Techetu of the Teachings of Ma'at. I'm also a student of the master teacher, the great Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. I'm the host of this weekly study guide, the Teachings of Ma'at, and a true-hearted follower on truth based on ancestral artifacts over religious opinion, a love of my people unconditionally, and dedicated to learning the Medu Neter, and a loyal defender of Ma'at. Next, we have the scribe, the scribe, Ani Patah Aten Tahuti, is a writer, poet, spoken word artist, audio producer, and engineer, healer, spiritual advisor, consultant, and business creator. He is a master student of the Neteru, a true follower and protector of Ma'at, a scribe of Tahuti and Ma'at. He studies under the master teacher, Sabat Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. For the scribe, quality always outweighs quantity. He enjoys observing reality and incorporating these observations into his writings and creations to assist in awakening a dormant DNA and reversing negative hypnosis. Next, we have the great Minku Ara. Minku specializes in training, educating youth workers, counselors, and educators about arts, culture, and history. He travels the world to experience how people live, and he shares it with everyone who is interested in learning from the research he has witnessed. Minku has a master's degree in entertainment and media business and has been working in the music industry and with nonprofit agencies, providing program planning and promoting concerts and community events in Madison for over 30 years. During that time, he has facilitated the following innovative after-school programs for the Madison School Community Recreation, which are Hip Hop 101, and Music Production 101, and MP4 music programs for youth. Next, we have the presenter for the night, the mighty Ahati Maat. Ahati Maat was taught under the great Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. He has been a serious student and teacher of Kemetic culture and history for several years. He has written multiple books, including the textbook called Journey of Your Soul series, essays, and articles. Furthermore, he hosts in-person and online classes, weekly podcasts, and periodically creates documentaries. He also has experience in public speaking and academic debating, and he is responsible and one of the founders of this weekly study guide and the Teachings of Ma'at. Hotep Ma'at, welcome everybody to today's class. Peace.
Peace, peace.
Hotep, brother. Does anybody have any announcements before I make mine?
Yes, peace and Hotep, everyone. We are glad to be back. We're definitely glad to be back here live with you all. Coming back with a fire episode. It's going to be absolutely amazing. The great Neterit Sekhet. Perfect energy to bring the class back with. So we definitely are looking forward to the great presentation from the great brother Ahati Maat. I want to welcome everyone back to the Teachings of Ma'at YouTube channel. And we definitely we love seeing you all here. You know, give a shout out to Eric G. Peace and love to you. And see Maharu, Hotep. Peace and love to you, good brothers. Guano Trending. Peace and love to you. And all of you who are watching, Robert Reyes, Ma'at. Peace and love to you, good brother. So I'll show some support that we haven't shown. We've been off for a week, so we will definitely show those couple of supporting donations that we have. Okay, let me share my screen here. All right, we'll start with this great sister here. This is the Sheshait of the Teachings of My organization, Miss Angie Martinez. She sends $20. She says support from the Sheshait. So 2 out to you.
I'm trying to get my sounds working. Subscribe. Give me a second.
I got you. No problem, good brother. Thank you, good sister, for your support. And we definitely appreciate you, and what you do. This sister is responsible for the timestamps of the Tahuti Pod class and the Teachings of Ma'at Study God Sunday timestamp. So we definitely appreciate you and the service that you provide for us. So thank you. Stop sharing there. And let's see. 1 second here.
That's a nice bouncy beat.
Yeah, I like this beat too. It's nice.
It's real chill.
Subscribe, you know. I'm on.
Oh,
Hey.
I'm with the violence already, brother. You just chilling at the party, man. What you doing?
All right.
Stay ready. You ain't got to get ready.
All right. Next, we have the. Let me see. Is this the correct one?
It's showing Eric G.
Showing Eric G. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't mean to show that one. Oh, that was the wrong one. It's the wrong one. This is the one I meant to show right here.
Eric G, peace.
Peace to
Never
you,
heard
brother.
back. Hope you're okay.
Yes, I heard from Eric G today, and he sent an inquiry on how to become a member of the Teachings of Ma'at. So shout out to you, good brother, and we are in that process. All right, and here's what I meant to show. The great brother Nito Campbell. He sends $5 for the Teachings of Ma'at.
Shout out to you, good brother.
Mr. Squano Trending.
Where's my L?
All right, he sent that, and then he sent this as well. Another $2 for ops. I don't know if it's ops or oops. $2 for ops.
Yeah, hey, everything count.
Tua, Nito, Tua.
Yes, peace and all right. And I do want to show this before we let good brother Ahati go into his presentation. So this is an image that I came across. Let's see, let's show this here. Let me zoom in. You see this beautiful image of the Neterit, the great goddess Sekhet. This is a beautiful, beautiful statue here. All right, so this was, it says the exceptional sale, Christie's live auction. London, July 8th, 2021, lot 30, an Egyptian granite head of Sekhmet, New Kingdom, 18th dynasty. the reign of Amenhotep III from 1390 to 1352 BC. So let's look at this number here. This is the important number right here. See this large amount here. So we see these beautiful images and the ancestral artifacts and the value that these Temahu are placing on the artifacts of Ma'at. Right, so I just wanted to, I showed this to the brothers, and Ahati Maat wanted me to show this to you all, and it's very important that we do, because we see that the value that is placed upon Ma'at and the images and the ancestral artifacts of Sekhmet are not what we would consider cheap, right? And these people here, they have no problem. They have no problem paying these prices for our artifacts, right? So it's very important for us to see this and recognize this, that if this right here should be going to Ma'at, right? Coming from our ancestors, and they value us, they value our artifacts, they value our writings, so much so that they're willing to pay millions and millions of dollars to have these artifacts, right? So this is very important. And here at the Teachings of Ma'at, and of course Saba Tahuti Amenhotep Ra, the value of the information that's being brought forth is completely undervalued. But we see there's certain people who value this information, right? They value what we brought forth and what our ancestors brought forth and taught, right? So these people are not playing around, and we have to recognize this, and we have to do the same. We have to appreciate and value what our ancestors brought, because the ones who are not even utilizing the teachings of Ma'at, left by what the ancestors said, value this far more than any one of us in this chat. So this is a very beautiful image, and this is just one of thousands. So with that being said, we're gonna let the brother Ahati Maat go forward with this beautiful teaching of the Neterit Sekhet, and I look forward to the teaching. I'll stop sharing screen and you can take it away, great brother.
Thank you, good brother, and thank you for sharing that. Peace to the brothers on the panel. Hotep Ma'at. Peace to everybody in the chat. I was really excited for the brothers when they came out here. We had a great time, and they got their rents, so they're charged up. They're ready to go. So great experience. So we're going to continue that energy right now with some hailing, because at the Teachings of Ma'at, we hail each other. We're not afraid to hail each other. Nobody catches feelings over here, so we're going to do that. Excuse me, my throat's a little dry. I'm drinking tea. So let's do some hailing. Let's do some hailing first, and then we'll get into it. So we're going to share the screen. All right. So this hailing affirmation you can find on our website at teachingsofmaat.org. And I'm going to read the Medu Neter up top, and then the translation underneath in the red. So it says, E Neb Ma'at per em Ma'ati. Hail Ma'at is everything. We come forth from her. Henu Saba Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. Hail Saba Tahuti. Henu Kemet. Hail Kemet. Makaru, Makaru, Makaru. Victory, victory, victory. That is our victory voice. Stop sharing here. So I hope everybody in the chat is doing good. I see you, Squano trending. Peace to you, brother. Eric G, peace. Angela Gates is here. So there's a few people here. That's good. That's real good. For the people that come out and support us weekly, we really appreciate you. We really do. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't feel any type of reciprocity or any type of love or feedback back here. But there are, of course, things during the course of our life, years, months, days, that aren't always ma'at. They're not always, as some would say, perfect. And that's just how it is in this realm. And unfortunately, change continues to exist, and it will wait for no one. So why am I saying all this? I'm saying this because a few things I'm going to go over before I go into the presentation, which is going to happen shortly. And it's a great presentation, so just stick with me if you're here live. If not, just fast forward if you don't want to hear this. If you're watching this later on. Fridays is a pod class with our master teacher, Saba Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. And he brought up some great points about people and donations. And I'm not going to get too much into that right now. But he brought up some great points on that. So I suggest if you want to know exactly what he was saying, go back. It's just last week's class. Go back and watch that class last week. Somebody will post a link. Somebody will help you out if you need to find a class, find out what he said. So why am I bringing this up? Because I was the one that brought him the information. So I want to make this very clear to people. The people that reach out to me, if you don't have something that's addressing me specifically, don't send it to me. I don't want to see it. Especially if it's negative, I don't want it. I have people reaching out to me all the time, and most of it's positive, and most of it is addressing me. But if you have a problem with somebody else within this group here on the panel, within the chat, or within Saba's class or Saba himself, we're very transparent here. We'll give you his email and you can address him privately like that. But I'm tired of it. I'm tired. I had to cut people off. I had to cut people off because I saw how they act one way when we're in public live, and then when they're talking to me, it's a different type of person. I don't have time for that. That's confusion. I don't have time for that. So you know who you are. Don't address me or contact me ever again. Because I always protect Saba, and I won't hold anything back from him. So I had to make a very hard decision this weekend, and I'm going to show you what that decision is. And I don't know if these people, I don't see them in the room. I don't know if they're listening. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate, but I just want to let the female in this entourage or this family, I want to let her know it was very hard for me to make the decision because you worked very hard for me. You put in a lot of time with me. You listened. So at the end of the day, I didn't have a problem with you. I have a problem with liars, okay? And I'm going to show you why. Because the foundation of our movement is based on eradicating as much as we can ISFET. And ISFET cannot exist within the 10 points of the teachings of Ma'at. And it may be hard. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can hear it. Okay, go ahead. It's better.
So on the top left-hand corner, you should see a seal. We're not playing around here. When we tell you we got a movement, we're not just talking. This is a totally action-oriented movement, totally action-oriented team. on the panel did you see here? I mean, the brothers literally came thousands of miles. So we're all about action. The top left-hand corner, when I'm circling with the mouse here, this is our symbol. This is Tahuti's teachings of Ma'at symbol. We represent Tahuti at the end of the day. So we can't have any type of isfet. When you agree to come be part of this, when you agree to your membership, to be a member, this is what you're signing up for. So we don't want to come back later on and have to go through all this chaos. It's just easier if you just be honest. This program is based on Ma'at. It's a totally honest program. And we're not only representing ourselves, we're representing Saba and ultimately the Neterit. So here's the 10 points. If anybody out there is interested right now, into the future, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, here it's being recorded and documented. Here's the 10 points to be an active member. I'm going to run right through it for time purposes. And then there's the non-active. We even have non-active, and it switches up a little bit just so you have some transparency. So the 10 points to be a member, an active member, is no Tamahus. I don't want to hear this, well, Tamahu means foreigner. Yes, it does. But you know what Saba Tahuti, who the specific race of people Saba Tahuti and I and everybody on the panel talks about. We're not talking about the Asians. We're not talking about the Ecuadorians. We're not talking about mixed biracial people. We're talking about the two recessive allele or two recessive gene parent people, the full-blooded European. And I know not everybody's not to the down decimal and quarter full-blooded, but if your parents are both European, you're a Tamahu. And you can't join us. You could be a guest, absolutely. You could be a supporter, absolutely. But you can't be a Tamahu. And I can't get into the details here. If anybody wants me to bring it up during the Discord meeting or email me for more information, I welcome that all day long. There's no sexual degeneracy. We don't want people, we don't, if you were a pimp and you're still pimping out there, when you come in, if you don't change from being a pimp, you're out. If you're out there womanizing women or whatever these crazy terms are, if you can't control yourself sexually, and I'm not talking about guys that have a lot of sex or have a lot of women that they're having sex with. I'm talking about if you can't tell yourself, no, I'm not going to have sex with this woman right now, or I'm not going to masturbate at this time in this hour of the day. If you cannot control yourself sexually because you see a female's body, and this goes for the females too, you're out. Because we don't know down the line if you're gonna commit pedophilia, you're gonna rape somebody. We have no idea. There's no alcohol to addicts. If you're coming in and you're an alcoholic and addict and you don't change and become recovered, if you don't speak to the good brother Arcad that works in this field for many years and don't want to change, and he tells us this, you're out. There's no liars. This is worse than the alcoholics and the sexual degeneracy, because if you're lying, that means you're dishonest with yourself. That means when you look in the mirror, you can't even be honest with yourself. And if you can't be honest with yourself, you can't come back to us when you do something wrong and apologize. So no liars, no thieves. And when I mean theft, I'm talking about you don't steal from your brothers and sisters. What you do on your own time is on your own time. But you come into this movement and I hear that you're stealing from Saba, you're stealing from me, you're stealing from the brothers, you're stealing from people in chat at the annual meetups, you're stealing. You'll be dealt with. You'll be dealt with severely too, because no theft. The Tom who does that to us day in and day out. They thieve our bodies. That will not be tolerated. All brown people who follow Ma'at are welcome. Let me say it again. All. So if you're calling yourself mixed race, if you have African, what's called African blood in you, you are welcome. If you have no African blood in you and your parents are from Germany, wherever you are from, and your parents are European, both parents, you're only welcome as a guest, not welcome as a member. You have to be loyal to me. Why? And I'm going to get into that very briefly. You have to be loyal to me. Loyalty means you have to serve. Everybody on the panel is serving, and they're serving me, and they're serving Saba, because it started with me serving Saba. If I didn't serve Saba, this show wouldn't be happening right now. So there must be loyalty to me, and being loyal to me, you're being loyal to the movement, because the movement is built on a pyramid. At the top is Saba. Saba Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. He is the Aku. He is the light. The light shines down. When the sun shines, it shines down. He is the light. Then it's me, then it's the scribe, then it's Arcad, then it's Menku, and on and on and on and on and on. If you catch feelings over this, if you say whatever the democratic mindset tells you to say, then don't join us. And if you join and you got problems with this, then let us know and you can resign. Up to date with monthly gratitude payment to Tom. We will work with you. If you don't have money, we understand. We have payment plans. We will work with you. We will work with you. Actively helping to build our nation, willing to defend that risk of life to Ahati and the Teachers Maat Nation. Yeah, we're about that life. You're risking your life when you join with us. We're not just talking here. That is the active membership. The non-active, just little changes. It's basically the same, except for we're looking for your mental support to mentally support the movement's goals and offer ideas and services that may improve the organization. Okay, and that is just how it is. That's just when you're building a nation, and you're really about the nation. That's how it is. I get on the bus and I talk the same way I'm talking to you right now, and brothers tell me I have to keep quiet and stop talking. They might hear us. It's like, oh man. But if we're both in a gang, we have no problem shooting each other around the bus. So I just want to be transparent on that for those in the future that are thinking about joining. I know some of you are. And those that we had to release, you know the reason why. All right. And that is it. So let's get into this awesome presentation. Thank you everybody that's here and listening and stayed with us while I went through that. I know it's uncomfortable, but the uncomfortable eventually becomes great. The uncomfortability becomes great because we're being honest with each other. And I don't want a bunch of yes people, smiling people that are not being real with me. So, okay, so one thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to start the presentation, yes. And for people that don't watch the podcast, or this is your first time watching now and in the future, I'm Ahati Maat, and I am the loyal and faithful and willing to shed blood in my life for the great and honorable Saba Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. You've been hearing me say recently that
Hey brother Ahati, mute your YouTube that's playing in the background.
Okay, hold on a second. It says it's mute.
Okay, well there's some type of noise whenever you go to share your screen. Yeah, we hear
Okay,
echo.
let me log out and log back in and see if that works. Okay, 1 second, everybody. 1 minute.
Scribe, while that is happening, I wanted to ask you, I'm sorry, not Scribe, Annie Pataha, the great.
Yes,
when you showed that image of the statue, the figure at the bottom, was that an American dollar amount? Was that 2 to 3 million?
It was 2 million pounds.
Okay, what does that translate to American currency?
Still a lot of money.
1 pound is
I know, I knew, because anytime you talk in the mills, we know million is a lot. I just didn't know what it translated to our revenue.
Yeah, so 3 million pounds is $3,732,615.
That's ridiculous.
Say that again, one more time, Annie.
$3,732,615.
Whoa. Okay. Cool.
Scribe, how do I sound now?
You sound good. It's just when you share your screen is when it starts
Okay.
Doing the.
Let me see. Share audio tab. Okay, how's it sound?
Okay. Yes, we don't. I don't hear it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let's get into it, everybody. Welcome to everybody that's just arriving and those that are here. Okay. Ani, can you see the screen?
Yes, we can see you, brother.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
So what is value for value? What is value for value? I've been saying that often. What is value for value? Let us find out. Okay, so and this is gonna coincide or go with the presentation too. So what is value for value? You might have heard this term before. I value these symbols that are on the screen. I'm hearing noise in the back. If somebody can mute it, please. I'm hearing these symbols on the screen I value, okay? I value being a defender of Ma'at. I value being part of the teachings of Ma'at. And I value what's going on in what's my personal and business life. When we look up the word value, it's from the Latin valere. It means to be strong. It means to be well. It's from the Proto-Indo-European root, wall, to be strong. So value is something that gives us strength. So these teachings that I'm going to give you tonight, and that you can go to our website at teachingsofmaat.org and watch all the archived videos there. If you're digesting the teachings week after week, you should be noticing a new strength growing inside of you, growing inside of all of us. That is what value for value is. So value doesn't necessarily mean it's a monetary thing, but people that have money or do not have a poverty consciousness, and just because there's a difference between being broke and a poverty consciousness. Broke could be, well, I have no money because I have only 25 cents in my name, or literally just lint in my pocket. And that's okay, because I know within the next minute to next hour to next day, I could have $50,000 in my pocket. A poverty conscious person will tell you that's impossible. You've been homeless for 20 years. I don't live like that. I've never thought like that. I've never lived like that. Even when I was walking the streets, somebody stole my sneakers in Cambridge, Massachusetts during the winter, and I had to take the red line all the way back down to downtown Boston with no shoes on. And people were staring at me and giggling and laughing. So I don't look at anybody for their physical, what they have, or their appearance. I look at what they're doing. What are they using to take action with, even if it's something very little. And other people recognize this too, so then they donate. This is why they donate to us, and they feel compelled to give their service and to join us, because they see a value within these teachings. Because within these teachings of Tahuti, there is no other conscious movement out there that I know of that is teaching strictly from our ancestors' beautiful language called the Medu Neter, and then living it, living it daily. I don't know any other people that are doing that. Everybody else I come across on YouTube and in the street usually gets highly emotional when you challenge them on their knowledge, or they're always throwing in their own opinions to the ancestors' words. We don't do that here. So people recognize that, and they want to give us money, because yes, money in this society is valuable. It's how we survive. It's just how it is. Value for value is strength. And here's why. Going with the topic tonight, Sekhet, it forms the word Sekhmet, the Neterit Sekhet. Sekhet, like most meta words, have multiple meanings. It means to be strong. It means to strengthen oneself, to prevail over, to gain the mastery, strong, strength, might, power. You see the brothers up here with the afros. They have the neter. They have the axe. They have their bows, and they're ready for battle. Because as defenders of Ma'at, you need physical people to defend Ma'at with. Because Ma'at, at the end of the day, is a teaching. And it has to be defended by physical warriors. So as defenders of Ma'at, this frequency that the warriors are on and everybody's on within the nation is a frequency that takes action for Tahuti, the Sefku. If you want to know what the Sefku is, just send that in as a question on Friday to our master teachers, Tahuti Saba Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. But I wanted to show everybody that tonight and in the future that when we're emphasizing how important it is to give back to us, it's because in this society that we live in,
technical difficulty.
The brother went out and came back in.
Yeah. Just bear with us for a second.
Peace and love to the chat.
Peace and
Sun
love.
Ra Nan God. Peace and love to you, brother. I don't remember seeing that.
That was me. That wasn't the Matrix. Sorry about that, everybody. Welcome. Who is this? Sun Ra.
Yeah, we got some new people in the chat.
Sun Ra. Yay. Sekhmet. Okay. Peace to you. Peace to you, Stephen. Uncle Jasaneb, everyone. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you, that when we're asking for donations, as it's been addressed to me, and we do, we're not doing it because we're not giving back value. After tonight, you should see value. And if not, I don't know what to tell you. So with that, scribe, I'm going to ask you after 20 minutes to half an hour if you're seeing any donations or anything. And if not, I'm going to let you brothers take it over, because one of my students just gave me a hefty donation, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars over the weekend, and he doesn't get half of this. And that's honest. I'm doing this because I know there's children watching, and I want them to have it. Okay. Let me see if this is working. There we go. So that is at least for me what is value for value. That's why I personally ask for donation. If you want to know why the brothers do it, you would need to ask them. So let's begin. God is Sekhmet. Lions remember.
Your screen's not sharing, brother.
Okay, thank you. Okay, how's it now? Again.
Are you going to be playing sound in your presentation?
Yeah, I'm going to be playing a video.
Okay, well, there's an echo. We hear the music playing.
You can just shut off the music if you can. Is that better?
Yeah, I'll turn the music off.
Yeah, just shut it off. Greetings, Dorian Doe. Sorry, everybody. This is how it is. Little technical issues, but we'll get it together. I'll get it together here. Doreen Doe, peace to you. Welcome to all the new people. I know that we're living in a time with the jabba jabba and everything going on. It's a very chaotic time, and people are looking for new ways of life, new teachings, just new information, and you come to a great place to get it. Let me see here. How's it now, Scribe?
Yes, you. Since the music's muted, we won't hear it.
Okay, perfect. So everybody that came in, welcome again. And this is on the goddess Sekhmet. You might have heard or know a lot of things about Sekhmet, but I guarantee by the end of this presentation, there will be some things you've never heard. So goddess Sekhmet, lioness, remember? Excuse me 1 second. And we're going to start off with why is Sekhmet, or maybe some of you have never heard of why Sekhmet is called the field goddess. Why is she mentioned as a field goddess? Why did the ancestors call her that? So the lioness in the eye of Ra, the protectress of her mate, the Necheti, also plays a significant role in the afterlife where the Neter occur. So there's a lot of people here that may have heard of the Legends of the Egyptian Gods book, specifically the story, The Destruction of Mankind. And within that book, Sekhmet played a significant role for Ra as his protector and as his guide, and this also plays a significant role in what's called the afterlife today, but in the Medu Neter it's known as the Neterit Sekhet. But first, why is she called the field goddess, and where is this field located? Before we get to the Medu, we have to explain the morphic resonance. What is the morphic resonance? How does it relate to a field? But first, here is the Tamahu that created the term morphic resonance. And Wikipedia claims this concept is for pseudoscience. He may be onto something. So there's a lot of people, when they're very dismissive, they'll say something's for pseudo, it's fake, it's not real. But let's see if this guy here, Rupert Sheldrake, let's see if he's for pseudo, he's fake. He doesn't have any evidence to back up what he's talking about with this morphic resonance. But before I do that, I want to ask the chat if anybody in the chat has heard of morphic resonance before. If anybody's heard of morphic resonance, give me a 1. If not, give me a 2. Has anybody in the chat heard of morphic resonance before? And if you're coming in, please hit the like button because it helps the algorithm. It helps more people find us, people that want to find this information. It helps out a lot. Thank you.
Two's coming in, brother. Two.
Okay, so twos are coming in. We'll get back to the presentation. Oh, I don't know what my computer is doing. Hold on a second. All right, we already saw that one. Okay. So let's check his credentials. And let's see if Rupert is Fasudo. The guy has no credentials, doesn't have anything. Let's see. So this is Rupert Sheldrake's curriculum vitae. I'm only going to read a few things because there's so much here. So he's born in 1942 in Newark-on-Trent, Nottingham, England. Let me blow this up. Zoom in here. Let's get to the credentials part. Okay, it starts early. So between 1960 to 1963, he was in Cambridge. He was awarded in 1963 the Botany Prize at Clare College. In 1963 to 64, he was a Frank Knox Fellow, whatever that is, a graduate student at Harvard University, studied philosophy, history of science. 64 to 67, he was a research student in the Department of Biochemistry, University of Cambridge. Did his thesis on the production of hormones in higher plants. So Cambridge. Royal Society of Leverhulme, students at the University of Malaya. Royal Society of Rosheim, research fellow, Department of Biochemistry. British Council, visiting scientists in Germany. And it just goes on. He's a consultant, plant physiologist, excuse me. It just goes on and on and on. Addressed the U.S. Congressional Clearinghouse on the future of new approaches. He visiting professor at JFK University. So it just goes on and on and on and on. So this is, again, one of the things you'll get at the teachings of Ma'at. We just come with evidence. We don't use sources that we can't show you people's credentials on. So from seeing this, and if anybody wants the links to anything I shared tonight, I'll be happy to share them with you. So just to reiterate my point, that this man here, Rupert Sheldrake, has a lot of credentials. So he's not doing fake science. He actually majored in it, and that was his profession for a long time. So now let's watch a short video explaining the intricate details of what morphic resonance is and how it relates to a field.
His hypothesis of formative causation, British biologist Rupert Sheldrake has theorized that the forms of self-organizing systems are shaped and governed by invisible fields of morphic resonance. According to his theory, these fields are built up over time to contain the collective memory of similar substances and organisms, influencing their structural formation and patterns of activity through resonance. In this view, geese, for example, would share a collective informational field, accrued over the entire period of their existence, which organizes and informs their growth and behavior. A human example of such fields would be Swiss psychologist Carl Jung's collective unconscious. In Jungian psychology, the collective unconscious refers to the part of the unconscious mind which is derived from ancestral memory and experience and is common to all humankind, as distinct from the individual's unconscious. Now, getting back to morphic resonance, the traditional mechanistic view of morphogenesis attempts to explain the formation of organisms in terms of how particles and molecules interact with one another. It also focuses on genes, gene activation, and proteins. But that focus, as Sheldrake's website states, no more explains the development of form than the study of the delivering of building materials at a building site explains the structure of the house that is built there. Scientists have not yet been able to explain, for example, how DNA commands the cells of a child to grow only to a certain point and no further. Put simply, the mechanistic view does not explain what organizes these components into patterns, holds them together, and encourages them to continue assembling into yet higher forms that behave holistically rather than as a mere collection of parts. Morphic resonance, on the other hand, is able to explain not only how proteins progressively arrange into higher forms, first as cells and eventually as tissues and organisms, but also how organisms are greater than the sum of their parts. The wholeness of living organisms defines them as being much more than mere aggregates of parts. Morphic resonance offers a more holistic view of how form emerges and cooperates with other forms on various levels to support their evolution into higher forms. Evidence for morphic resonance. Study number 1. Rupert Sheldrake conducted a study in which a group of English school children were asked to learn and memorize 3 different Japanese rhymes. 1. A popular rhyme known by millions of Japanese. 2. A meaningless series of Japanese words arranged to look meaningful. And 3. A brand new Japanese verse created expressly for this study. Keep in mind, none of these children knew the Japanese language, and neither Sheldrake nor the students knew which rhyme was which. The result was that the children were able to learn the popular, well-known Japanese rhyme much more quickly than the other 2. Therefore, we conclude that these results support Sheldrake's hypothesis that this rhyme was connected to a well-formed morphic field, developed over a considerable period of time, which subtly enabled these children to learn the rhyme more quickly via resonance. That is to say, over a period of time, a mutual resonance had been established between human organisms and this field, which unconsciously supported them in learning the rhyme. If this interpretation is correct, it would imply that human beings regularly entrain on a subtle level to various informational fields that make daily tasks much easier to learn and master through an incredibly refined and as yet undetectable form of mutual resonance between field and organism. Study number 2. Psychologist Arden Malberg invented a new form of Morse code, which he taught to a group of subjects. He also taught them the official Morse code. The end result was that the group acquired and memorized the official Morse code much more quickly than the newly invented code. Study number 3. Yale professor of psychology Gary Schwartz conducted a study in which he used 24 3-letter words commonly found in the Hebrew Bible, as well as 24 3-letter words found only rarely in the same document. He also created a shuffled version of each of these words. All of these Hebrew words were presented to subjects who were asked to rate each word in terms of how confident they were that they could guess its meaning. Students gave higher confidence ratings, nearly twice as high, for the common words than the rare words. So we conclude that although these students were unable to accurately guess the meaning of each word, their confidence ratings suggest that the common Hebrew words were indeed tied to highly developed morphic fields, built up over time through extended use. And again, this supports the idea that we regularly entrain to and enter into resonance with subtle informational fields on an intuitive level. Study number 4, Rupert Sheldrake conducted a study in which the maze learning errors of rats were plotted over several generations. Every possible variable was painstakingly controlled, including age, aptitude, and many other variables. The resulting graph indicated that the later generations of rats mastered the maze more quickly than their forebears. The result was repeated even when the more sluggish, less proficient were allowed to breed. This evidence supports the notion that morphic fields accumulate over time and thereby support the learning and growth of future generations through resonance. Study number 5. German naturalist Gunther Becker created a special termite dwelling using 4 transparent plastic containers. They were arranged side by side and termites were placed in each one. This was designed to observe how the termites would go about building their vertical tunnels, which are usually constructed only along the peripheral walls. The termites in the 2 middle containers did not engage in any vertical tunnel building at all. Only the termites in the containers on each end of the colony built vertical tunnels, which were erected only along the 2 outermost walls, exactly as would have been seen in a normal termite mound. This evidence suggests that an existing morphic field accrued over the entire existence of the termite species and guided the termites in building their vertical tunnels, even within the confines of a divided mound. The plastic containers did not appear to interfere with the field. Study number 6. Monarch butterflies are known to migrate to Mexico, taking anywhere from 4 to 5 generations for the group to complete the journey. This phenomenon in itself supports the hypothesis of a guiding morphic field that supports succeeding generations in making the trip. Study number 7. Dutch biologist A.C. Perdek forced youngsters of a migratory species to change their paths. He was able to successfully establish new patterns of migration within a migratory species in a single generation. A new morphic field was possibly generated based on the urgency of the forced pattern change and continued to resonate with enough coherence to support this new migratory pattern among later generations. More evidence. In his book, The Source Field Investigations, author David Wilcock discusses the phenomenon sometimes referred to as multiples. In 1922, William Ogburn and Dorothy Thomas discovered 148 scientific discoveries that fit a pattern referred to by science historians as multiples.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. And where did the screen go? And I don't subscribe to David Wilcox. He just happened to be in the video there. If anybody knows who he is. Can everybody hear me? It says my mic's muted.
Yes, we can hear you. I muted your presentation.
Oh,
until
okay.
You're ready to play another video.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's get back into it. So that is the morphic field or the morphic resonance, as Rupert Sheldrake says in his book, The Nature of Formative Causation. And here's one scientist with great credentials that is confirming, as we'll all see as I go on the presentation, that our ancestors, or as some call it, ancient Egyptians or the Comedians, had this information tens of thousands of years prior to Rupert Sheldrake. Let me blow up my screen here. And let me get the red pointer. Okay. So he says what you do and what you say and what you think can influence other people by morphic resonance. There is no immoral filter in morphic resonance, which means that we have to be more careful about what we are thinking. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. We have to be more careful about what we are thinking if we are concerned about the effect we have on others. So I always tell people that I'm less concerned with what you say to me, because anybody could say anything. It's more of what you're thinking about me that will be exposed and come out. So what is the Sekhet Hetapu in the field of offerings? Again, people that are in the Medu Neter class, people that know Medu Neter may have heard of the Sekhet Hetapu. But we're going to go a little bit deeper. So this is from Budge's Dictionary, Volume 2, page 687. I blew it up on the right, just so we all could see it a little better. So the Sekhet, remember, Sekhmet, the root of the title or name of Sekhmet is the Sek. So the Sekhut Hetep is the god or the neter of these fields of offerings. And we're going to get to what these offerings are. Is it an offering of incense? Is it an offering of water, food? We're going to get to the offerings. But the Sekhet Heteput is the neter or the god or goddess of the field of offerings. The Sekhet Hetep is the goddess of life, health, and joy in the field of offerings personified. So how can, when we think of a field, how can a field that we think of, let's think of any field in the United States, wherever you're at, whatever country you're at, think of a field, how can a field be personified? How can a field be personified? Because here they're not talking about a physical field. So they're talking about what you just saw, which is morphic resonance, which it's called today morphic resonance, but it's more of a frequency and vibration that exists that can personify itself into physical matter. And we're gonna get into that. Shortly. Let me go over offering with you. So the etymology of offering comes from offering, Old English offering, but its Proto-Indo-European root, or the words that were created after stealing information from Kemet is bear. Bear means to carry, also to bear children. So the root of the offering is something being birthed or reborn. That is the root of the offering. So as I promised, scribe, it is the 20-minute mark. Has anybody seen any value so far in the teaching where I can continue?
Yes, we have. We have received some support, so you can continue. We'll gather them later. We have one from Begad Leisure, which is Maharu in the chat. So shout out to you, good brother, for your support, and Stephen E. supported as well.
Okay, thank you, my great brothers. Because of these great brothers, you guys are in for a great presentation. Let's continue. To ascribe.
Nini Ook.
Okay. So that is what an offering is. So when we make an offering, it's not just an offering meaning I'm giving you offerings. I'm giving you whatever you think an offering was prior to this. An offering is literally to bear something, to birth something. It means rebirth. If you notice here on the right, we have this beautiful, beautiful granite statue of Sekhmet, of the Neterit or goddess Sekhmet. And you'll notice that the word says Sekhet because Sekhmet is also Sekhet. Because in the when the Medu Neter language was being translated, the Egyptologists didn't have the exact pronunciation or didn't know the exact pronounced sound of how our ancestors spoke, and it was a lot greater and better and more profound than how I'm speaking it now to you. So they can just estimate what it says. So you might see, if you're studying the Medu Neter, you might see Sekhmet, you might see Sekhet, but it's the same goddess. And if you notice here in the glyphs, here's an egg symbolizing birth, and it says the field goddess. So the realm where memories are born, the Sekhet Hetaput, is coming from the Sekhem, which I went over a little bit in the beginning. But here's another meaning to the Medu Neter word Sekhem, which means power, the life power of a neter or a man. And this goes for a woman and a neteret, personified the name of the gods and goddesses. Our power is generated from this field that personifies us or creates us in the physical matter. It also relates to the power of everything that we see out here in nature. So everything that you see right now with your two eyes is created by the same Sekhem. This is what the ancestors called power, strength, divine power, the power of nature, the goddess or God-man personified was the Sekhem. Very, very powerful, powerful, powerful meaning right here. Come on, you can do it. You can turn. There you go. Okay. The root of Sekhmet in Sekhem is the Sekah. And you don't see the E here because they're not sure exactly which vowel to put in there, but you could put Sekah. So the root of Sekhmet and Sekhem is the Sekah or the Sek. The Sekah means to row, to stroke, a stroke of an oar. And this glyph here symbolizes a womb, a uterus, a womb, a female's womb. And we know if you've been following the teachings of Maat for a while, or if you're brand new, the Ka is part of your power, part of the generative power that goes along with your Sekhem, which creates the Sekah. And the Sekah has many meanings, but pertaining to this presentation tonight, it's dealing with the light energy that goes beyond this physical life, symbolized by this jumping fish that exists within the Nile Valley River. It's symbolizing your Ka, your energy, your power leaving your body, not only after the physical realm, but also every night when you sleep, whether you know it or not. And we'll get to that. And when you leave, it's just like here, how your thoughts are guiding our thoughts are guiding our actions and telling us now unconsciously a lot of times to take a step here, to move your hand here. It is doing that in the next realm, in the realm that's being called the afterlife, but the Medu Neter word, one of the Medu Neter meanings is the Neterit, and also what the ancestors called lightland. So it's not just leaving and then it's floating around wandering after you get this knowledge. When you get this knowledge, it is taking direction. It knows exactly where to go. The Ka also means to leave, to forsake, to cast aside, to reject, to abandon, to cast away, to release, to slip away from, to yield, rejected, forsake. It's rejecting this physical existence and it's releasing itself. And it's doing this every night while we go to sleep, whether we know it or not. Okay, so the power of Sekhem, of our Ka continues to steer us towards our afterlife destination. And I'm just using the afterlife for new people or people that have never heard of the Medu Neter word for afterlife. That's why I keep repeating it. But the power of our Ka continues to steer us towards our afterlife destination. when it releases from our bodies. Okay? When our death happens, our Ka goes into autopilot. What's interesting is the word for pilot comes from the word ped, which means foot. And if you look here at this glyph here, it's showing the walking feet, the action symbol for something in motion, because they took the word foot directly from the Medu Neter Ka. And I'm going to show you. When we go to the etymology of pilot, it's from the 1550s, and it says one who steers a ship, especially one who has charge of the helm. It's from the Greek pedon, meaning steering oar. You see that? To row, stroke of an oar, the sekha. The Greek changed it to the pedon and called it a steering oar. We go to the Proto-Indo-European root for ped, and it means foot. So whether tonight when you go to sleep and you're conscious of it or not, or whether tonight is a night you leave, you take the final trip out of here, either way, it is your sekha, it is your power, it is your resonance, your morphic resonance that is in you too, that guides all of us to our destination. And we'll get to that a little later. We're not done. We're just heating up. Again, to all the supporters, to everybody that takes us serious and recognizes our value. This brother here is pointing to the Sekhmet Nefer. If you see here, it's the name of the rudder of the northern sky, or Pet, because there, to the ancestors, there was four corners to Pet, or what's being called heaven now, or the sky. And one of the rudders is the beautiful, powerful feminine energy, the Sekhmet Nefer. It steers us in the direction of Osiris in the two Ats, or lightland. When we follow Ma'at and not Isfet within our memories, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Because another word for memory is Seka'u, the Seka'u, which means memory. See that? Part 2. The meow or the ma'u. The meow or the ma'u. If you speak English and you're watching, everybody's heard of the meow, 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 but you made it. If you just join the Medu Neter class, or you just start watching our shows online, you might have heard us say ma'au before, and you might be thinking to yourself, is this a coincidence that meow, ma'au? We're going to get into that. And yes, everything is a war for the feminine energy mind. It's a war for her mind. Everything is. And that's what we're here defending. We're defending the original feminine energy, or the original matrix, the original mother. We are her defender. We cannot serve two masters. One master being Isfet. Isfet is now, if you Google Isfet, it'll say chaos. But it's the chaotic nature of us. It's the one that rejects Ma'at, which wants to bring you peace, contentment, consistency. The Ma'at un Ma'at. The Ma'at un Ma'at. This is the word Ma'at here. And this is the Un. And we're going to get into the Un pretty soon. But I put the Un Ma'at here specifically because the brothers, the sisters are waiting on the brothers, multiples of us, not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but it's a collective energy of us that shows that we're ready to lead them towards Osiris and the Tuat. And we are the Un Ma'at. The Un, the universe, the brain, the lion's memory. This is from my book, Freedom Through God's Word. I'm just showing this to you. This is a better picture of the Un again. We have the rabbit or the hare. They call it the African hare. And we have the water ripple here, which signifies new or wave energy or frequency. If you haven't got a copy of my book yet, I suggest you do. Here are some of my reviews. The Brother Rebel Minded, peace to you. Hope you're safe. He says, I just received your book, Journey of the Soul series. Very powerful. I'm so thankful that I found you and the master teacher, Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. You both helped guide me with truth along my journey. Peace and love. And we have Harassi Culture says, if you do not have Journey of Your Soul series by Ahati Maat, you should get it. So if you want to learn more about what I'm teaching tonight, I suggest you send me an email. How does the Un connect our universe to us? So the Un means to reject, to turn back, to set aside. But I want you to focus on to turn back. The Un means to turn back. Where are we turning back to? When we do the etymology of universe, it's going to have a root to it called uni, which creates the word uni in verse. It means having one only, from Latin uni, combining form of unas, meaning one. From the Proto-Indo-European root, oino, one. And I know Saba Tahuti, if you were in Friday's class, he went over this briefly. So I know a lot of you know this already. But for the people that are new, the universe is the totality of existing things. It means to turn. You see that? It means to turn back. So when you do, if you didn't know the Metanet or Un, and I just showed you this, it would just say turn back. But here we see, again, tens of thousands of years ago, the Un means to turn back. And we're going to get to why the Metanetter says that. It's because we are not our brain. Think of a radio receiver. What is Hebb's law? I just noticed that I'm missing a slide here, so I have to go back, and I'll have to explain it to you. Because I didn't add the Metanetter clip here. So Un forms a root to Unin. Unin, and Unin means one, and it's also what formed the Uni, which forms the universe. Because the ancestors knew that the same energy that created Osiris creates everything, and it's how we get back to the pure form or the original root of who we are, which is light beings on a frequency of Tahuti. So we are turning back. When you're in the Un, you're turning back to your ancestral way of life. You're turning back to your ancestors' nature. You're turning back to the frequency that Kemet was on, which was a certain type of frequency. I mentioned it in the beginning, which is the Seth Ku. And that would make a great question for Friday's class. And that is why when the Europeans came in and they saw these glyphs, it made sense to them, at least this one, and they decided to take it, just slap a vowel on the end of it and call it one. So our brains are a radio receiver. We are not our thoughts. I want to make that very clear, because it can be very debilitating. And I am not what's the word? I go through it too. I'm a victim of it too, of my thoughts at times, because they're so convincing. They sound so good. They talk in the voice, that sweet voice you want to hear, and they agree with you a lot. But we are not our thoughts. And here's why. What is Hebb's law? So think of the brain as just a radio receiver, no different than any receiver, really. So the quantum Zeno effect in Hebb's law is from a book by Jeffrey Schwartz. You Are Not Your Brain. I actually recommend this book. And he references two principles based on neuroscience that allow us to literally alter our brain's hardwiring, because the brain is plastic. If you're in the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, there's a famous term called neuroplasticity. It deals with hypnosis. I suggest you, if you're interested in things like that, like I am, I suggest you research that too. But yes, that's why you can become whatever you want at any period of your life. And if you're consistent and disciplined and take action and work at it over and over and over through rejection and all types of obstacles, you will become that. So the quantum Zeno effect in Hebb's law. The quantum Zeno's effect states that consciously focused attention activates, stabilizes, and holds together brain circuits in order for Hebb's law to take effect. Hebb's law states that neurons that fire together wire together. What this means is that by directing your attention to something other than the old pattern you are stuck in, either in the form of action or focused thought, you create new neural pathways in your brain. So it's just not limited to our thoughts. Also, it's in your movement, in your action. You know, you might put your sock on. You might put your right sock on your right foot, and then you decide, well, I want to experience some change in my life, so I'll put the sock on my left foot. Something as simple as that, just to get you in the momentum of change. Uh-oh. I don't know what's going on here. This CPU. So what does this mean? It means we are not the thoughts that come into our brain. These thoughts have been around. I lost my laser pointer. These thoughts have been around for longer than our brain and the central nervous system have existed. So that means that what we're calling a thought was in these morphic fields, was in the Sekhet Hetaput before this squishy muscle in my skull here. They are not unique to you or me. Therefore, in reality, no one on the planet can claim that their ideas are truly original outside of Kemet. Let me say that again. Therefore, in reality, no one, and I use reality loosely, I know people will argue that, no one on the planet can claim that their ideas are truly original outside of Kemet. Why? Because they are the origin of what we call our thoughts. To have a thought means to think. To think comes from the Proto-Indo-European root to feel. Guess what the Medu-Neter word for to feel is? Guess what it is? Right back to your ka. To touch, to feel, to seek, to find out. What are you seeking? What are you finding out? To examine a patient by the touch. So the ka means that your energy literally, in order to create, has to feel. It has to vibrate with something. It has to dig something, as we used to say. It has to agree with something. In order to agree with something or anyone, you first have to feel the vibration. I don't know about you, but if I don't agree with somebody, and it's a strong disagreement, so I don't agree that Jesus existed. So anybody that agrees that with Jesus existed, I can feel that vibration. And if they're adamant that they don't want to change from that stance, well, I feel their energy prior to that. How? Maybe they get they start shifting around the seat. Maybe they want to start arguing. Maybe they start coughing a lot. Maybe they start yawning. A whole bunch of things could be happening that we feel first. We feel people's vibrations before we even open our mouths to speak to one another. And notice that the ka again goes back to, the sakha goes back to the ka. So through our feelings, people say, oh, you're all up in your feelings. And I say it too. I have to catch myself. And that's this time right now. Yeah, you have to be all up in your feelings. Guys, it's okay to feel. You have to feel, man. It's okay to have feelings. People say, oh, feelings are for women. No, it's not. Not at all. If you tell me that, I know something's wrong with you. Yeah, because your emotions, when they're operating on ma'at, outside of confusion, you can trust them. And therefore they can direct you, not only here in the physical realm, but also in the Neterit on the way to Osiris in the Tuah. Hey there. So meow or ma'u? Meow or ma'u? Religious mind versus follower of ma'at mind. Which one is older? The word religion or meow? Or do you even care? Which one is older? The word religion or meow? Do you care? So we see here religion. I'm not going to get into religion etymology. Most of us know what it is. I just want you to focus on the date here. It says that it was established in the 1200s. I'm just going by the etymology. I know it's established long before that, but we're just going by the English etymology here, the word religion, and it says 1200. Okay? When we look at meow, it says a representation of a cat sound, 1842. Earlier, meow, it says the 1630s. So by just looking at this, you would think that, okay, yes, the English word meow is newer than the English word religion. So, Ahati, why is this important? What does this have to do with Sekhmet? And come on, man, hurry up. So if you notice here, meow, again, if you know anything about the Neterit, you know that the vowels did not exist. So it would just be the M and the U. That is the ma'u. It's no coincidence that meow and ma'u sound very similar because, once again, the European or the Tamahu took our language, our culture, and adapted it into their own. And that's why that's one of the reasons why we're at now, because they adapted. Let's get deeper into the meow and the ma'u. It may appear that religion is older, but this is not reality. It is an illusion, a parlor trick used over and over to deceive us every day. Look at all this money. She doesn't have a problem donating. Look at all this money donating to this monster, Kenneth Copeland. Yep. And it's all just smoke and mirrors, a smoke screen. It's all just what they call a magic trick, an ace up the sleeve. Reality is plastic. You can form it into whatever you want at any moment, even right now. The Ma'ul in Sekhmet, the eye of Ra. Beautiful eye. Beautiful eye of the lioness. The Ma'ul The Ma'u is the lioness god or the lion god or a cat god. You see that? And this root comes from the Ma. The Ma, which is dealing with sight, means to perceive, to see. So your Ma'u, your sight, is what creates your perspective and your perception, which are two different things. My perspective of somebody and my perception are two different things. Of anything, really. My perspective is based on what I've gathered. Have I gathered evidence when talking to this person or anything from the news article before I speak on it? And my perception is flawed. I'm speaking for myself only. My perception is flawed because I remember working in New Jersey a while back at a picking warehouse where we were picking these high-end auto parts, and you had to pick parts at a certain time, and within a certain time you had to make a quota. And we would have these carts. We'd have like these think of the cleaning carts that janitors use. We had one of those with all the parts and the picking slips on it, and we'd have to run down these long aisles, and on either side of these long aisles, three shelves up, were all these engines and starters and mufflers and all these things for BMWs, everything. And if anything it was easier if you just entered the aisle and ran down to the other side and went out that way. It would reduce your time. So if anything was blocking the aisle, which would often happen, you'd have to turn back around. You'd lose time. If you lose time, you make less money. Just total chaotic rat race stuff. So I enter this aisle, and this fork truck pulls up, and it looks like it's blocking the other end of the aisle. So I'm coming down the aisle like this, and it's in the fork truck pulls up at the end of the aisle. I can see it, and I have to make a decision now. Do I have to turn around and wait for it to leave, or should I just keep going? Because maybe what I'm seeing is an illusion. So I keep going down the aisle. I pick the parts. I'm hoping what I see is an illusion. I keep going down the aisle, and as I'm getting closer to this fork truck, my eyes couldn't see that far down, and that fork truck was in fact across from the exit of that aisle, so it wasn't blocking the aisle as I perceived it to be. That day forward, I never trusted my perspective again. That's why it's very easy for me to apologize to people, because I never trusted my perspective. I never trusted what I saw from that experience that day in that warehouse. And the Ma'u also means to think. See that? To think. Which comes from to feel, to ponder, to bear in mind, to remember, to fix the attention on something. The Ma'u is your mind. That's why I didn't put it here, but one of the names of the ancient Egyptians or the Comedians was the Kem or the Kam Ma'u. The bright mind or the black mind or the conscious mind. The Kam Ma'u. And it also means memory, which goes along with this presentation today. One cannot call to mind the name of everything, which is very true. And you wouldn't be able to recall anything without your memory. So I highly recommend this book by Budge, Legends of the Egyptian Gods. And I'm just going to read a small part on page 19. This is what I was talking about earlier, the destruction of mankind. I'm going to read from what's highlighted in red here down to where this red arrow was pointing. It says, then the god spoke in the presence of his majesty. So what's going on here is Ra's upset because there's these beings called the rebels and potent, impotent rebels, and there's people that are rebelling in Sekhmet against Ra. And it's a huge, massive rebellion that's grown out of control through Isfet energy in Isfet. And the only one that Ra is interested in squashing this rebellion is the Sekhmet, is his power, is his powerful eye, his Ma'u, his Sekhmet. Then the god spoke in the presence of his majesty, saying, let thine eye go forth, and let it destroy for thee those who revel thee with words of evil. So the rebels were all up in their feelings with Sekhet, and they were speaking very negative about Ra, and he was tired of it. So for there is no eye whatsoever that can go before it and resist thee in it when it journeyeth in the form of Hetaru. Hetaru is a form of Sekhmet, because the goddesses, the Neterit, represent each other. There is no separation. They're all following Ma'at. And when women or men or anyone follows Ma'at, no matter what, yes, we have our different personalities, we have our agreements and differences, but at the end of the day, we all agree to follow the ancient, and I'm using this loosely for people that are used to that term, but the original feminine energy, the original female, which was Ma'at. So that's why you'll see the goddesses' names interchanged all the time. So yes, one of the forms of Sekhmet was Hetaru, the house of light, the house of the Ka. Therefore, upon this goddess went forth and slew the men and the women who were on the mountains and desert land. When it comes to this way of life, it does not matter. The energy has to be eradicated at once. There is no compromise. And I know what we've been taught in this society, that we, especially us as a people, because the Talmud rarely compromises with us, only if it's for their benefit. There was no compromise in Kemet, because it's a mindset at the end of the day. And if one mind's affected, it can affect everyone. And then the nation crumbles and falls apart. So that's why men, women, and even children, it didn't say here, they have to go. And the majesty of this God said, come, come in peace, O Hetaru, for the work is accomplished. So she went off. You ever seen a lioness on the Kruger National Park show or Mali, all these national park shows on YouTube? If you ever see the lions get down, they don't play. They do not play. So that she was worked up, and Ra said, you did good, you did well. Peace. Then she said, thou hast made me to live. For when I gained the mastery over men and women, it was sweet to my heart. Do y'all hear this? Do you hear this? This woman is, and the rest of, I suggest you read the rest of the story. I might, what do they call it when you ruin it? You ruin a part, I can't remember, but I may ruin it for some. But she was soaked in blood. Oh, actually, I'm going to get to that. Yeah. You're going to find out. She's saying what she did is sweet to her heart. And that Ra gave her mastery. He gave her the information to do what she needed to be done, and she did it well. And Ra said, I myself will be master over them as their Par-ee, or Nasu, and I will destroy them. There is no sweet talk here. None whatsoever. When it comes to Sekhet, chaos, it has to be destroyed. And it came to pass that Sekhet, or Sekhmet, of the offerings, see that? Of the offerings, waded about in the night season in their blood, beginning at the Sutin Henin. At the Sutin Henin. So she was soaked in blood. She reveled in her killing. It was sweet to her heart because she knew she would be honored for her service. When you watch these war movies with Tomahus, and they always show the one quote unquote crazy, insane Tamahu who's soaked in blood, especially in the Vietnam movies. He's soaked in blood and he's screaming, yeah, like that. Nobody's telling him to be sweet and gentle. So there's a time for peace and a time to get down. So the Tamahu, of course, creates these words that we can hardly pronounce. So the Tamahu, when you go to footnote, this is important. I have to show you this because you're gonna come to Sutin Henin and be like, "What is this?" So the Sutin Henin, if you go to footnote, here's the confusion now. He switches the word to the Henin Su, and then on top of that, he adds in the Hebrew from the Greek, which is Heracleopolis Magna. Heracleopolis Magna. If you want to know what that is, just ask me and I'll tell you later. I don't have time right now to get into that. But it's an actual place in Kemet. So yes, the Neterit were physical beings, and Hensu is where this is the capital of the place Heracleopolis, which is really Hensu. So it's called Hensu. So Heracleopolis, which is known as Sutenhenin, destruction mankind, excuse me, is Hensu. And we're gonna get to that very soon. So the place Hensu symbolizes our relationship to Heka. Heka is being called erroneously magic today. Heka has two words. It's dealing with your eternal light, your eternal energy, your eternal power, and your eternal frequency, and the literal frequency that created everything that we see in a physical existence that we can tap into. So they created a town that symbolizes this and why it protects us. Because it is our thoughts that protect us first. Excuse me. It is our frequency, our feelings, our energy that protects us first, that create our thoughts. The brain pan is our skull that protects our brains. So without this protection, without this skull, whatever you got going on inside your mind right now cannot give you information without that mushy tissue called the brain. It's helpless to the outside world here. So it needs protection too. Even though it's way more powerful, the brain is way more powerful than bone, it still needs its protection. See how it works? I'll take a homeless person any day. If you're homeless or if you're listening, I'll take your protection any day. The Nesu, where we get the word the Nesut bit, or the Ne, the Su, it forms part of the Su. Why? Because the Su is the protector. The Su was the Par-Ii, or what's being called the Pharaoh, or the king, or the ruler, because he protected his nation by using what is erroneously called magic today. It was his frequency. It was his Heka that protected the people, because if you have somebody that's insane ruling over you, you're going to be conquered. You're going to collapse eternally, probably even before anybody tests you. And I don't want to get into the country I live in right now, which is the United States, but we're witnessing that today. This country is definitely collapsing. Just a news flash. And the homeless people are going to be a lot of the survivors. Because they're surviving every minute of the day right now. You use ancestral DNA memory to do this, yes. And I'm here to bring clarity. So let's get into the ancestral DNA. Oh, excuse me. Before we go, another reason why we hail is because the hail comes from the hen. And those that hail are called the Henu. So when you see us hailing you and you're hailing us in the chat, and I'm hailing Saba, and I'm hailing Ma'at, this is where it comes from. It comes from our frequency. The Henu is those that praise. And through that frequency, the hen, we are protected. This is a symbol for the hen, or the hay. It is a symbol of protection. It is a symbol of protection that coincides with your frequency, all of our frequencies. Ancestors' memories, DNA articles. Let's get into it. I'm only going to read some of these very quickly and briefly. If you need the links, I'll send them to you. Just give me a shout out. But for time purposes, I got to kind of read quickly through this. So this is from Vice. It's from December 20th, 2016. Can we access the memories of our ancestors through DNA? Let's get into it. We ask a philosopher about the scientifically debated concept of genetic memory. Some psychologists, let me blow this up real quick, excuse me. Okay, much better. Some psychologists, most famously Carl Jung, have theorized that we're born with memories and experiences of our ancestors imprinted on our DNA. We're not necessarily unlocking them. I say we are, but it's possible that our most basic survival instincts might stem from some long ago trauma experienced by a dead relative. It's a theory that also subscribed to by television psychics, though you can see where things get tricky. While you might not be able to remember the specific horrors experienced by a great-grandfather in a World War I trench, or the weary footsteps taken by ancestors as they migrated from Africa to Europe, it's not an uncommon thing to feel in touch with those whose genetic material you share. So a lot of people speak to their ancestors at their altars or however they do it, and a lot of people feel them, a lot of people see them. Like Ma Heru and his beautiful mother, his Mut. We define ourselves by things like race and family history, and sometimes those experiences of the distant past feel very present. And I just want to say real quickly with Ma Heru, this is just conjecture, it's just my opinion, I'm stating that. People that I know that don't believe that we can touch base with our deceased loved ones don't see them after they go away. So in my research, in my introspection, I've come to a conclusion that we can reach them very quickly when we want to, whenever we want to, through our frequency, which I'm speaking on tonight, which is the Sekhet. So how possible is it that the memories of our ancestors are embedded into our DNA, perhaps influencing us in ways we're barely aware of? So this is from Dr. Berit Brogard, a University of Miami philosopher specializing in the areas of cognitive neuroscience and philosophy of mind. And of course, it's controversial to the science community. So they ask, if we were to have memories from our ancestors stored in our DNA, how would they have got there? And Dr. Brogard says the memories would have to shape the genetic material in a way that can be carried on to your children. So firstly, you'd have to have the memories before you have children. And they would have to have impacted your genetic material in a way that would be manifested in the genetic material of your child. If that hasn't happened, then there's nothing to unlock the memories. What is the evidence? What evidence have we seen of this happening? I also want to give you this too. When I share something from when I share articles from the Matrix, when I just share articles or anything outside of the ancestors' teaching, I would like you to go and do your own research on it too. Don't take everything I'm showing you as this is the truth, because I make mistakes too. And a lot of times I'll show you articles to expose the article, just to expose how they hate our teachings and how they switch them up also and don't want to acknowledge it. So when you have time, I suggest, just double check what I'm showing you is the truth too. What evidence have we seen of this happening? There's evidence in rodents that you can breed learning how to run a maze into the next generation. So that's something that have been shown rather recently, that if rodents find themselves in a certain maze and their parents have learned some things about the maze, then the little rodents do not have to start from scratch when they learn to navigate it. And I'm laughing because a lot of people think we're the most intelligent beings on the planet, and we're really not. We're really not. And here is another form of that evidence that even rats can run a maze. And from the memories of the rat's parents, they can take a shortcut or they can run it a little bit better or faster. And that's literally how it works here in nature, through pattern repetition, through memory. This at least shows that it is possible that you have some memory in your genetic material and materials carried on. So I'm going to stop right there for time purposes, and we're going to get to the next article. Next article is from actually, let me do this for a second. For a minute. Pull that up first. Make sure I'm still sharing here. Okay, how's everybody doing in the chat? Is anybody getting bored? Everybody tired? Anybody need a break? We can always take a break too.
Berto Reyes says, real dope. Fire. Hindu. Shout out to you, good brother. Out there?
Must be laying down, relaxing, or eating.
We got Big Vapes put the big eyes like he paying attention. Shout out to you, Angela Gates. She says we good.
Roberto Reyes is going off, huh?
Yeah, he loving it, brother. Me too. Me too, Roberto.
I know you are, bro. I love you, brother. I know if you notice, a lot of my teachings are geared towards you. Look at Ani. Ani, what you doing, man? Yeah. Ani, you in the Serengeti right now? What you doing right now? Who that? That's Sekhmet and Haru. Sekhmet and Offset wrestling. I love it.
Yeah, just having a little fun playing around.
I love that. I wish we could do that and talk like we used to, all day long. That would be the Neterit. Okay, let's get back into it because people have schedules and timelines, and I value your time. Value for value. I hate these cookie things, man. I hate hitting them, but I'm going to have to do it. And I hate hitting them on Google because Google loves tracking. Oh, I can refuse it. Oh, great. But they're still probably tracking it. Okay. So this is from Cordis EU research results. It says DNA can carry memories of traumatic stress down the generations. DNA can carry memories of traumatic stress down the generations. Animal and human investigations indicate that the impact of trauma experienced by mothers affects early offspring development. But new research is also discovering that it is also actually encoded into the DNA of subsequent generations. Take a moment to think about that for a second. Just take a moment. Let's take a moment. And I know there's other I know there's Asians, I know there's Tamils, there's lots of Tamils that listen to us and follow us. There's not just what we call quote unquote blacks from all over the world watching us. It's a lot of these other labeled races. And I've heard it a lot where when we look at, let's say, it's all over, especially in the United States, but it's all over the world. Somebody will go and rob a bank, they'll rob somebody, they'll rob their own mother, they'll do this. I never blame the person. I don't do that. I don't even blame the person. I don't even blame the rapist. I don't even blame the rapist or pedophile. Will I condone that? Absolutely not. If they're in my presence, it's game over for them. I will definitely do what needs to be done. But I don't blame them per se. I don't blame that because I know that's an energy that's in them that generated the physical being that's in front of me, and it's being passed down through their DNA. And this is exactly why Tamils cannot be part of this movement, because somewhere back, wherever back in the history of your genetic coding, there was somebody in your family line that either orchestrated, was either involved in, or either resonated with vehemently feelings of hatred for me and all brown, quote unquote, brown people of the world. That's why, not because we just because we hate that you got all the power, or we hate that you run the banking industry, or that we hate that, whatever that. No, it's not even like that. It's the logistics of it. It's because of what I know, and it's because of what all of you listening today and listening in the future will know. That the DNA is something that really I suggest everyone research, because the Tamil right now is going to use it as a memory bank to erase our knowledge of how to get back to the Tuat by creating a place for artificial souls to go when you die. If you want to ask Saba about that, send him a question on Friday to Hoodie's podcast, Friday on YouTube. It starts at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Yes, this is happening. I have videos right now. They're already working on it. When we find out, they've been working on it for decades. So somewhere down the line, the guy that's robbing the bank tomorrow, whatever's going to go on, I don't blame that guy. I don't blame the Jew per se, because the Jew is the Jew. No, I know because the frequency that him and his ancestor holds was the one that created Judah Benjamin, the largest plantation owner, and he was a Jew in America. And if I say any more, they'll probably cut the stream, because that's what they did with my channel and strike us. So I'll stop. But if it was just me, I'd keep going. Okay. So violent acts, such as those encountered during warfare or terrorism, obviously have a profound impact on mental health, not only for surviving victims, both also for perpetrators. So just because somebody murders your brother, and I'm not condoning or saying that's okay, I've met these people in jails and prison, and they break down and cry like little babies in front of everybody. It's the frequency that's off. It's not the person that's in front of you. The individuals involved are often at mercy of a pernicious cycle of destructive thoughts and behaviors. And you can keep reading on. It goes way more into detail. Intricacies is pretty. You can go deep into it, but I want you to research this on your own. And another thought came to me about Saba's class, where he explained that in Sekhmet, the legal system was based on talking to each other first, not getting violent or putting us in cages. Okay, and it's done because the other person in front of you makes mistakes, and they mess up, and they deserve a chance like you, if they apologize. See, that's the kicker. If they own up to their mistake. If they don't own up, you can become like Sekhmet was against the rebels. And the final article here is from Scientific American. And it says, Genetic Memory, How We Know Things We Never Learned. I met my first savant 52 years ago and have been intrigued with that remarkable condition ever since. One of the most striking and consistent things in the many savants I've seen is that they clearly know things they've never learned. That's why I say you could be whatever you want. Don't leave it up to me to co-sign it. If you want to be a clown juggling balls at Circus in Las Vegas, do it. If you want to take over the White House and become the next whatever, leader, president, do it. Do it, man. I want to see you do it. That's how I roll. Dream big. Do it. I met my first savant 52 years ago and have been intrigued with that remarkable condition ever since. One of the most striking and consistent things in the many savants I've seen is that they clearly know things they never learned. So these people have never had prior knowledge. Leslie Lemke is a musical virtuoso, even though he has never had a music lesson in his life. Like blind Tom Wiggins, a century before him, blind Tom Wiggins, his musical genius erupted so early and spontaneously as an infant that it could not possibly have been learned. It came factory installed. So something put it within him. Some mind put it within blind Tom Wiggins. In both cases, professional musicians witnessed and confirmed that Lemke and Wiggins somehow, even in the absence of formal training, had innate access to what can be called the rules or vast syntax of music. Rules? We don't need your stinking rules. What rules? If you're dreaming big, if you know that reality is plastic, you create the rules. Alonzo Clemens has never had an art lesson in his life. As an infant, after a head injury, he began to sculpt with whatever was handy, Crisco or whatever. And now is a celebrated sculptor who can mold a perfect specimen of any animal with clay in an hour or less. After only a single glance at the animal itself, every muscle and tendon perfectly positioned. He has had no formal training. To explain the savant, who has innate access to the vast syntax and rules of art, mathematics, music, and even language, and I would just throw in there anything, in the absence of any formal training and in the presence of major disability, genetic memory. Here we go. Right back to DNA. And everybody has DNA. So everybody has access to this free genetic memory. Genetic memory, it seems to me, must exist along with more commonly recognized cognitive, semantic, and procedural habit memory circuits. Genetic memory, simply put, is complex abilities and actual sophisticated knowledge inherited along with other. Inherited, so it has to be inherited for something, some mind, some memory previous to us being in physical bodies, which would mean our ancestors. Along with other more typical and commonly accepted physical and behavioral characteristics, in savants, the music, art, or mathematical chip comes factory installed. In addition to examples mentioned above, I describe others in my book, Islands of Genius, The Bountiful Mind of Autistic Acquired and Sudden Savant. Genetic memory is not an entirely new concept. In 1940, A.A. Brill quoted Dr. William Carpenter, who, in comparing with math prodigy Zerah Colburn's calculating powers to Mozart's mastery of music composition, wrote the following. In each of the foregoing cases, then we have a particular example of the possession of an extraordinary congenial aptitude for certain mental activity, which showed itself at so early a period as to exclude the notion that it could have been acquired by the experience of the individual. So people didn't even have memories to experience what they were, they were in activity in, what they were doing, taking action in. To such congenital gifts, we give the names intuitions. It can scarcely be questioned that, like the instincts of lower animals, and no animal is lower than us, I want to say that now every other species on the planet is operating in its natural state, whether it's for millions or thousands of years, except for what's being called, quote unquote, the human being. We are the lower being. They are the expressions of constitutional tendencies embodied in the organism of the individuals who manifest them. Carl Jung used the term collective unconsciousness to define his even broader concept of inherited traits, intuitions, and collective wisdom of the past. And just skipping through this, animals, he wrote, particularly show evidence of what might be called racial memory. This would be equivalent to genetic memory. He lists the second type of memory as that associated with conditioned reflexes, and the third type as experimental. The two latter types would be consistent with the terminology commonly applied to a habit or procedural memory and cognitive semantic memory. So our habits are produced from prior memories of something that made us feel good, and even things that made us feel bad that we want to relive again, because that there are people that like pain a lot, but they won't tell you that. So I'm going to leave it there. If you want to read more, again, just reach out to any one of us and you will get access to this article. All of our sources are transparently given to you freely. Let's move on. And we're almost done here. Dreams connecting our memory back to lightland. Oh, I didn't do I wanted to do what I planned it to do. Let's see if it does it. I won't do it. Okay. So lion's memory. Lions, the Panthera leo, solve, learn, and remember a novel source of acquisition problem. So I'm not going to read the article. I was, but for time purposes, I'm not. I do have the article. But to sum it up real quickly, the article talks about how when they're doing research on all mammals and animals, one of their first choices is the lions, because they've noticed that in lions, when they pass through their generations, they learn to adapt quicker through their memory and problem solving. You can't solve a problem without having a prior memory, a learned memory, or just having a prior memory on how to come up with a solution. And they notice that it's very strong, it's very Sekhmet within the lioness and the lions. So again, another article, you can just Google search it if you want on your own. I recommend it. So yes, lions definitely have memory, and they have superior memory. Lions also like to hunt during the rain and after the rainstorm. Excuse me, during the rainstorm, not after. During the rainstorm, because the noise blocks their sound when they're hunting prey. When they're hunting in the field, they remember that they get most of their kills through the rain, because the prey doesn't know when they're coming at them. That takes memory. Teaching takes memory. And you also remember this knowledge that all of you love out there by teaching others. My students go and teach other people as well, to the point they're on a job wiring conduits into support beams in the building. They're electrician, and other electricians notice their Sekhmet, and they notice that this person talks a lot about the Neterit and about Sekhmet, and they start asking them questions. And this is in other countries. So there's no such thing as a nightmare. I want to spell that right now. When you go, if you ever get the E.A. Wallace Budge double volume of the dictionary, or anybody, you could use James P. Allen, anybody, you won't find the word nightmare. Nightmare, because once you learn what Sekhmet is, the role of Sekhmet, once you learn about the Ma'u, once you learn that you are the master of your dreams, you are the controller of your thoughts. You literally do not have to fear anything anymore, and nothing. The only times nightmares come around are through fear and the lack of your control over yourself. Once you gain, and it comes immediately. You can ask people that are on the panel, but it comes immediately. Once you start learning Metal Netter, and you're going into your sleep, your naps, whatever, and you're doing your utterances before you go in, you don't have a nightmare. Because you're control, and then if something appears, because stuff will appear, because there's other entities in this other realm, and in the realm that the Talmud calls death, there are other entities there waiting for you and us, but they're reading your energy. They're feeling out your energies, just like when you're on a train. There's a bunch of people over there that want to rob people and jack them and kill and do all that. They know who's the weak and who's the strong, and just like a lion, they're always going to go after the weak. So you don't have to fear. There is no nightmare. I'll just put it there. This is what created. This is the evil. This is evil. This is what created the word nightmare. Oh, my screen's not blowing up. Hold on a second. Okay, I apologize for that. What is the Eddie a nightmare? This is from the Online Etymology Dictionary. Nightmare comes from the 1300s. An evil female spirit afflicting men. Oh, man. There is 99% of the population believe in nightmares. Yeah, if you go, hey, you ever have a nightmare? Yeah, I have a nightmare. And the energy behind that nightmare is bashing women. I come off very strong towards women, but I don't hate them. I don't bash them. Actually, one of my major goals is to help them, to support them, to protect them. But you can't do that if they're still believing in this word nightmare. Because whether we know it or not, whether we're conscious of it or not, that energy is there because everything in this realm, in the physical realm, is based off what? The Sekhet is based off the Ka, is based off of feeling, energy. So the Tamhu took your beautiful dream and created a nightmare out of it and called it an evil female energy. And that's why she looks like this towards you. Night created the night in the nightmare. Look at this. Look at what we have here. Look at here. Look at here. The dramatic words are from the Proto-Indo-European Nekhet. But I want you to focus here. The direct correlation or direct relationship to night, to the Tamahu, not me, not to brothers on the panel, not to Saba Tahuti, is niggerdom, niggerhead. So the Tamu in their mind create darkness, of course, to a nigger. When you look up the word night, it goes back to black. Black goes back to something that gleams, that shines. It goes back to your Sekhet, which is light. And they come in, the Greeks, and just topsy-turvy and throw it on its head and create generation after generation of brothers who are now labeled what? Niggers. Because when the Tamu sees us, they don't see brothers like us on the panel. They see only the brothers that are doing hip-hop, World Star, and bum fights and all this craziness. The mare, that's part, yes, a mare is a horse. I'm not going to get to that part. But the mare part of nightmare is what? Is a succubus. They call it a succubus. I call it a succubus because it's an energy and literally the queen of the nightmare. This is what the Tammuz see the female. They're females and every female has. And our females worship them. Literally queen of the nightmare. Oh, man. That's your status? That's your royalty? The Proto-European root is the murd. You notice that? People in the Meta class will know what this word is, but for those that are new and listening in the future, the Tamu totally took a Meta word. Oh, come on. You got it. Let's do a turn. Let's do it. There we go. Let's go deeper into this and break the spells. We'll get to the murd right now. I promise. Remember. Always remember. So we established that night and nigger have the same correlation within the mind of the Tamahu, but the dramatic words, the claim is Nekhet. The claim is Nekhet is dramatic for night because the Proto-Indo-European Nekhet is right here. You remove the vowels and some of the consonants and you get the word Nekhet. Nekhet. The claim is Nekhet is dramatic for night, which is associated with the word nightmare, which is associated with an evil female spirit. I can't emphasize this enough. Everything starts with a feeling. Everything starts with your energy. Everything starts with what's being called a spirit, which is everything. So it doesn't matter if you know this word or you just learned this tonight. If you're wondering why things do not always work for you, it's because it is. Because the knowledge is what's setting us free, literally. Yes. So the claim is Nekhet. It's dramatic for night, which is associated with the word nightmare, which is associated with an evil female spirit. If you're new, Nekhet is actually a Medu word that is not evil at all. Let's take a look, shall we? As before, the neck forms the word Nekhet. It is its root, and when you look at the etymology of fight, it means to attack. So he literally took the Meta word neck, turned it into, created a word called fight, because when you look up the etymology of fight, you'll see the word to attack. The original word was neck. And sometimes, well, a lot of times, attacking could be defending your household, defending your town, defending your community, defending your nation. So it's not just because you're attacking something or someone or anything, it's not bad. There's always two sides. The Nekhet, see that? The neck and the Khat, which is the Ka. The Nekhet is your thought. Is your thought, which goes back to think, which goes back to feel, which goes back to what? The ka. Oh, man. Remember. Remember the meta word hen from earlier? Remember? It also means, what does it mean, my brother? What does it mean? It means the hen. And what is the hen? See that? Oh, boy. It means to sleep. Because your greatest battles are not happening in the physical realm. They're happening in the dream state. I always say, if most people, if national leaders had this information, and they may not utilize it, so they may have it and not utilize it. I'm not going to discount that, but if nations were run on that mindset, wars would be very limited. I'm not saying it would eradicate wars or strife or anything. That will always be present. It's just how it is. But imagine you could go into a dream realm. Okay, let's say this in a dream realm. We come back and we meet in the physical realm tomorrow and we talk. There would be no reason to shoot you in the face tomorrow. There'd be no reason to stab you on the train. There'd be no reason to nuke a whole nation. Remember the word Neket from earlier too. Look at what it means also. For those of you that are new, in the Neterit, a lot of consonants are interchangeable. So whenever you see a Q, here's a little nugget. Whenever you see the Q in Neket, whenever you see this Q, it's a hard K sound. So next time when you see this, Ket or Q, it's a hard K sound. This is the word Neket too. And what does it mean? It means to sleep. And not only does it mean to sleep, there we see the Ma'a and the Ma'u, which is the eye of perception. Because you're seeing in your dream state. When your eyelids are closed and your physical eyes are closed, in this realm, you're still seeing. You can see your mother perfectly. You can see whatever you want to see in there perfectly. You can see things you've never even seen in the physical realm perfectly. And they talk to you and you can actually feel them. So I imagine as a little boy, like this beautiful little Netter here, man, I used to scream when I would have nightmares. My mother would have to run in the room because I thought the dolls were moving on my shelf. Pinocchio, I thought his nose was growing long. Or moving. I used to see him move. I thought I saw him move. But she had told me what I'm telling you tonight, which you could tell your sons and daughters, that would have been gone probably within the week. Because we love our parents, even when they abuse us. So that is the hen. The hen and the Neket. This is the connection to the Sekhet or Sekhem. Let's keep going. We're almost finished. Connecting our home back to lightland. The Teki, which is the root word for to settle, to dwell, or home, the Teki, comes from the meta word Teki, because Tahuti was known as the Tech, or the Tech-in. If you want to learn more, go to Meta Mondays. Send Saba Tahuti an email. Somebody will drop that in the chat for you to get in touch to find out when exactly the times are. And if you notice here, the title of Tahuti, which is the proper name for Thoth, means the regulator of times. And of course, this thing called time doesn't exist, but the seasons do. We see them change. Everything's about change. We have a direct connection to that change, to change to be whatever we want at any point in this quote unquote thing called time that doesn't really exist. Because you exist. You existed first. You behind the physical shell that you're in right now, that you call the body, which by the way is also called a Khat. Or Ka. Oh boy. So these two connect back to home. This is why I emphasize value for value too. I don't see anybody else on the internet doing this except for the brothers on the panel and our great Sabbatou. The Tekanu, one who enters. See that? In order to enter any place, especially your home, you have to move. There's the foot in motion here. The Tekanu also means to pierce the sky. You don't physically pierce the sky, right? And maybe a rocket could while you're in the rocket, but this is definitely not talking about that because we have the quantum, or we have the energy symbols here, which is the wave, the nu, and we have the net, or the neith, which is the pot or the vessel. The tek, the T, canoe is everything. This is the everything, the net that forms the N2, and it's everything. Your energy is everything. And a lot of people say, I know that already. I know. Good. How's it working out for you? When you put your intentions into play, are you getting them very quickly? It gets to a point when you learn the Medu Netter, and the brothers on the panel may know this, be experiencing this. You have to be very careful with what you think at any time during the point of the day, because not only do you track what you want, you will definitely track what you don't want. Energy just goes on hyperdrive. And what they're calling magic, just it just comes. What you want comes, because the fear is removed. It's gone. Other than the physical fear that protects you here, it's gone. It's not necessary. I'm totally honest because I'm totally honest with myself. There's a Sekhet. Okay. Moving forward. Almost wrapping up here. So Ahati, how do we connect our memory back to Lightland? Lightland is the name of our ancestors used now, called the subatomic realm of existence. What we do not know is it exists right now too. Let me continue. So Lightland is here too. To the ancestors, it's just one. It's a circular existence. We're just in the physical existence. So this is Lightland. The subatomic particles are operating right here too. We just can't see them. This is Lightland. Again, we have the Teka from the Tekanu and the Teki with Tahuti, and there's that I again. To see. The Teka means to see. The Tek and the Ka means to see. The Tekait. The Tekait is the fire goddess. You see the Ka symbol there? This is the Ka symbol, the two upright arms, the two arms. The two feminine energies, the Offset and the Nebhets. The Tekait, fire goddess. The Tekait, the consort of Mahes. The Mahes was the lion and his lioness. The lion was he who was honest beside her. The lioness is not going to get with the lion if he ain't honest with himself first and honest with her. How many brothers out there, lying to women all the time, lying to females, just constantly lying, afraid to be honest with them? Yeah, you lose a lot of females. They go bye-bye. But you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I didn't have to lie to her today. I'll get the one that protects my honesty. Protects what I really want. And look at this. Sekhmet is a fire goddess. You see that? So, so the energy of Tahuti is within the generation of the light, which is the Ka, which produces your mates, your mothers, your brothers, your sisters, your children in the nation of Ma'at or Kemet. Everything is connected here. So then when leaders are produced to lead the nation, there is no doubt in the people's mind that, yes, these people are competent to lead us. There is no, nigga, why are you in charge, man? None of that. None of that. Total order. Total organization. So let us wrap this up with some utterances. You can take this with you. I'm not going to get this article now because I'm already seeing I'm going long. We still got a little bit to go. So if you want the link, you can go to it. I'll send it to you. But It's a good article. It's about how our neurons fire backwards and help our memories while we sleep. So while we're sleeping, the neurons are not moving what they call forward. They actually go reverse. They shut off different parts of the brain to actually to organize your thoughts and your memories. And they go backwards. And the scientists right now don't know why the neurons fire in reverse. Just imagine your car and the spark plug is firing in reverse. The car wouldn't start, but the brain and the memories and your dreams keep going. So it fires in reverse. And my opinion, my opinion, I believe that it does this because they're trying to reconnect back with the supreme energy, with lightland, with where the clock comes from, with the subatomic realm. It needs all that energy to do what it needs to do while we sleep. And that's why they puts us. That's why we have to sleep. Because if we were up all the time, we couldn't do this. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna go through this pretty quickly. If you want deeper, join the Meta class. I'm showing you what I do. So this is the chapter of making the deceased remember. The Re'en Ertat Sakau Ren FM Neterit. Chapter of making the deceased to remember his name in the nether world. Erta Nai Reni Empa'ur Sakai Reni Empa Neter Kur. Paui in Up Renput in Tenut Ibet. May be given to me my name in the great double house. May I remember my name in the house of fire in night. See, the Kur is night. It's not nigger, it's night. It's Kur. Kur is night. The Neter Kur, that of computing years and telling the number of the months. It's the only place. Oh man, there's so much here. Look imi puli im hemzi herkes ibiti in. And it goes on. But there's so much here. So your Ren is the names that emit frequencies. The great double house, the power, is the power, what people call parallel realm. It's a parallel realm. It's a parallel world. It's the realm that in the physical, with your physical eyes, you can't see, but it's still there. It's what some people call a veil. And that veil is lifted when you dream. That veil is permanently lifted when you go through what they call death. The Sekau, or the Sekai, the Seka, see that? Means to remember. You have to remember your vibration. The vibration right now that these brothers received during last weekend, they need that energy. I'm not saying they're not going to remember it because they will, but that is the point to the Kemetic person, to remember the energy you were taught since birth. The Paut is where the Neter dwell, the photomic realm. This is the house. This is what we're all trying to get back to. When I die, I want to be greeted by Heru or whoever they want to greet me. That's fine. I want to be greeted by one of them. I won't be greeted by all of them. I ain't lying. The Pa Nesser, okay? The house of fire, the subatomic realm, lightland. The Oop is a dream state. It forms the word Upesh. When you look up the manner word for dream, it means Upesh. It comes from the Oop. It means the opener, which goes back to Linus with her chest being open. There's a famous picture that Saba and I show where I forgot the name right now. The buffalo. Yes, I believe is it the buffalo? I forgot the name. The bull is opening the lioness, opening her chest. So when the commanding saw that, they said, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." Because when I go to sleep and I release out my body, it's the same thing. The computing of years and telling of numbers and months. Remember, time doesn't exist, so it is within dark matter. It is within this darkness that the mathematical codes that build what we call time, space, and life, and we have access to this realm every single night. So what I do is when I'm there, I have my questions answered, and I ask more questions. I communicate with the material. I communicate with ancestors, family, everything, and I come back here being able to teach you like I am today. I would not be able to do that if I didn't do this. That's just one of many utterances. The second utterance and final for tonight's presentation is this. I'm just going to read the highlighted red part. It says, Ta
Taik Nai, Aset M Netekert, Irma Nebu, Ma'at Sa'id, Men M Sekhet. See that? Sekhet Hetapu. Grant thou to me a place in the Netekert, in the place of lightland, near the Neteru, of the right and truth. You only want to be, most people, I don't know everybody on the planet, but most people that I talk to, they don't want you lying to them. If they find out you lied to them, they don't want nothing to do with you. Trust is everything here in the physical realm. So we want to be, don't you want to be around people or beings in eternity, don't you want to be around beings, energy in eternity that's totally right and true with you? I do. My estate, it be permanent. So when you meet energy like this, you want to stay there permanently. You don't need to go anywhere and search anywhere else. You want to stay in the Sekhet Hetapu, which is the place where our memories take us to rest. We finally get to rest. After we pass through with this energy that I'm carrying now, it finally takes us to Osiris, the Tuat, and the place of rest. The Sekhet Hetapu, the conscious realm every person in Kemet wanted to visit after physical death. The Sekhet Hetapu is now called the fields of reeds or offerings. This is wrong. It demeans the intelligence of the people in the Nile Valley. It was the light realm, the quantum realm, that materialists and most scientists call for pseudo today in the year 2022. I know we're in 2023, but this is for one of my students. This is just one of numerous utterances I do throughout the day. Oh, man. Okay. And then this is the end. This is the end. We made it through. I'm currently writing a second book now. A lot of you have my first book, and I appreciate the support greatly. I'm currently writing the second book right now. I've been writing it for a while. It's going to take a lot longer than the first one because my time is very I don't have a lot of time now. The picture here is dealing with what I spoke about today. Well, actually, let me start here. The book is called Journey of Your Soul. It's called Lightland. It's dealing with the topic that I went through tonight. That will be in the book, and it's book 2. And this is a picture from that book. It's called the Hen Unk. I spoke about the hen a little bit. And the Hen Unk was the original flower of life. And it's so deep here in this physical existence that even the plants, everything is generated off of sexual energy. And even the plants look like the vagina and look like the male erect penis. See that? And then as a bonus, going back to the neck, the neket, another meaning for the neck means to grow young. I don't know if you ever heard the term. I always hear that we're growing old, but have you ever heard that you're the neck, you're growing young? So if you want to learn more about growing young, I know Saba is in a regenerative state, and he speaks briefly on this. But if somebody donates or gives him the right amounts, I'm sure he will break this down and teach us how to all grow young. That is my presentation, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. I know it was quite lengthy, but I only want to give you the best. Sekhet Hetapu, and everybody have sweet dreams tonight. Peace.
Tap. Peace, good brother. That was excellent. Hey, you know my clapping was playing in the background. I still had it muted. It was on cue and everything. Tap. Yeah, man. Y'all know I love that Sekhmet, man. Listen, it was somebody going crazy in the chat. Just foolishness, man. The ISFET is out there, man. Let me listen. Let me explain something to everybody out here, and I'm gonna tell y'all some. The only way that I was able to find Ma'at was using my ib, period. Just using my ib, period. And this is how I found out all of these things, and this is how I found the beautiful writings and teachings of our ancestors. And it's people that was in the chat just. You bringing forth ignorance, but you're not presenting anything. And I put a link in there and I said, at the end, come up and teach us, because I just want to learn. So if you have something to teach us and show whoever you was, then bring it forth. And this is the problem. This is the problem that we have as people. We don't value the truth. And it's sad, because as a people, that's what we're suffering from just removing our biases and just being able to recognize the lie, you know. And the writings of our ancestors are beautiful. And, you know, it may seem a little far-fetched if those are the terminology or the language that you want to use to describe it, but you have no problem going to the movies and watching something that was created by the oppressor to entertain you with bread and circuses and to pacify you. You know, and that's the problem, is that we don't value what's good for us. We value everything that's bad for us. And it's nothing wrong with using our creativity and creating art. It's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is not being able to recognize the real from the fake. And for myself personally, to everybody out there in the chat, because y'all know I'm a baby and I am proud and I am happy to say that I am at part 1. I get to start at the beginning. And this is why I laugh and I'm so happy, because once you know the truth, then you can begin to recognize the lie. But first you have to be accountable and begin to respect certain things. And, you know, people value different things, Ahati. You know, people value the lie over the truth sometimes. People value the entertainment over the education. You know, people value, you know, ignorance over knowledge. And it's just a fact. It's just a fact, man. And as a people, it's hard for us to progress because we offer so much isfet, but we don't offer no solutions. And I just want to shout out to the best teacher, period, to our Saba, Tahuti Amenhotep Ra, for presenting truth with facts consistently, and for teaching us, because we're all students, we're all Sabas. And I just want to shout out to everybody in the chat that appreciates the truth and that recognize it and recognize that it's a frequency. And Hotep Maat, I know this good brother been teaching, man. I gotta go back and I gotta go back and digest that properly, because I actually it's so deep for me. The Sekhmet is so deep for me. But Ma'at is real. And I'm gonna leave it with that. Hail Ahati. That was a beautiful, beautiful presentation, my brother. Hail Minku Ara. Hail Ani Patah. And hail to our Saba, Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. And hail to everybody in the chat that appreciate the truth. Peace and love to you, everybody. Hotep.
Go ahead, Brother Minku, if you would like to speak.
Hail Ahati for your dedication, your time, and your care, and your teachings. Great presentation. I love Sekhmet, but I have to be honest, what made me even more intrigued about Sekhmet is Patah. So I recently, in my own research, learned about Patah and Sekhmet, and I was like, whoa, that's the definition of a power couple. And so I love how you broke down so many different aspects in your teaching, and keep moving the culture forward. And I ran into this statement that really got me excited, even more excited about Ma'at and Kemet and just consciousness, and that is, language is the best expression of culture. And so, and then art, like when I love it how Atef was talking about art. Well, our standard for art should be what the Kemetians did as far as art. And so I think right now, I think people look at current art, but they don't have a standard to compare it to. And so when we think about the Kemetians and Ma'at and the consciousness they were in, and the art that they created, for me, that's my standard for art. So It's wonderful. It's powerful what you brothers are doing in this realm, in this energy, and in the consciousness, and moving the culture forward and representing our Saba to the fullest. So hail to all you brothers on the panel. Peace to the chat. Thank you for your time and your energy today. And I will pass to Anipata.
Yes, Hotep Ma'at. Hail to you, Brother Ahati. That was beautiful. That was absolutely powerful. Sekhmet is definitely one of my favorite words in the meta-netter. When I first started researching and studying, I came across that word. That was an early question I had for Saba with the glyph that creates the word Sekhmet, and what is that? And he gave a very powerful lesson on that in the meta-netter class. And yes, and it connecting to the great Neterit Sekhet and how you tied that all back into the Upesh realm, to the dream realm, which is where we spend a large majority of our time here in the physical life, but because of this language that the Tamahu has created, we're unconscious in this realm. So the majority of time that a lot of the time that we're alive here, we're unconscious, and we're wasting so much valuable potential to be able to create on a very high level, being awake when you go to sleep. So these teachings are so valuable. People really truly don't understand how valuable these teachings are, to be able to take this knowledge and these sound frequencies into the Upesh, into the dream world, and continue that, to bring it back here when you wake back up in the physical and continue it. It's you cannot put a dollar sign on that value, but it is it's absolutely amazing how you put that together, and your teaching style. I love your teaching style, and it's very unique, and you make it very digestible. This is very complex information, and somehow you're able to put it in such a way to make it digestible for everyone. And that's a extreme skill. So tuah to you and your teaching style, and your lessons that you're bringing forth. And I look forward to purchasing your next book and studying that and reading that, and allowing the people to get that, because these teachings are absolutely beautiful. And if we follow them, we can really start to do something different. And those who do, see how it affects their actual life, and how these teachings bring forth a different perception of your reality. One day you're feeling a certain type of way, or you may be thinking a specific type of thing, and just like having those nightmares like you brought forth, and the next day you realize that you are in control of that, and the frequencies that you carry into that realm allows you to have more control than you think. So these continue to support the teachings of Ma'at, because you're not going to get these teachings anywhere else. You're not going to get these teachings anywhere else. And we are just echoes of the great Saba Tahuti Amenhotep Ra. So make sure you're in his pod class on Friday and supporting him. If this was if we had a physical store, and we say, okay, well, here's a section right here for you to learn how to become conscious in the dream state. What price do you put on that? Like, what would the price tag be if you could put a book or put a actual physical thing? Say you're an AI robot, and you was able to take a USB disk and plug it into yourself, and now you can gain control of your dreams. What price can you put on that? Right? It would be the same price as that Sekhet statue, the 3 million pounds. Because we can take that into once we transition out this physical realm, and you have some form of control and some consciousness, which goes back into the Sekhmet, which is conscious memory. which is also one of the 9 aspects of the soul that ancient Kemet taught about, is the Sekhem, the conscious memory. So it's very beautiful. And to you, great Ahati, for that excellent teaching, And I will. There's some great people in the chat room who definitely appreciate this information, and you're who we do this for. We do this for the children, and we do this for the people who truly appreciate this information and understand that Ma'at is based on reciprocity. And I'm sure that those who support the teachings of Ma'at and support Saba Tahuti Amenhotep Ra receive whatever it is that you give, you receive back twice, trifold. And if we could just understand that, we wouldn't be debating or having problems about learning about reciprocity and supporting the information, because you can take the information, go apply it, and triple what you just gave. There's too many different attestations on the physical panel here, and for those who are in the chat who can verify that. I mean, so it comes down to what you respect. So we respect those who respect us. So we'll go through these the supporters, and it doesn't matter what you support, just the energy of you supporting is what matters. So we'll show this brother here, Emmanuel Rodriguez, Nook Poo. He sends $1.11 for support, which is good, because if this brother had $10 in his account that he has to utilize to get something to eat the next day or whatever, and he sends us $1.11, that's 10%. So that's what matters. It's the energy of reciprocity and realizing that it's worth something to you. So we appreciate you, Emmanuel Rodriguez, for your support that you send in, and also for supporting Saba Tahuti.
Hail you, brother.
All right, let's keep going. All right, next we have an excellent supporter, Begad Leisure, or Maharu, in the chat. He sends $20. He says, donation, Hinu Ahati and Hinu to the great other bros, Hotep always. I am really excited for my and our Ebe Neterit Medu breakdown. Hotep.
Hail, brother. Tua.
And he sent another support. He sent another $10. So Tua to you, he sent $30 total. Maharu, he says, donation, Hinu Ahati, thanks to ancestors, the invisible Sekhet goddesses and God. We would not exist without Mary Natiru. They are beautiful. Tua.
Nimil, brother.
Yes, Nini, Tua to you. We get Leisure, Maharu. And you can just ask this brother. This is the brother who has implemented the teachings and have seen real results in real times that for something that you cannot put a dollar sign on. So that's why this brother supports the way he does. So Tua to you, great brother. All right, let's see. And then we'll go to this great brother here, one of the active members of the teachings of Ma'at, who studies the Medu Neter. He's in the Medu Neter Monday classes. So you always see him typing in Medu Neter, which is a very powerful frequency. He sends 572. He says, Tua Saba Neter Ahati Ma'at for the Nefer teachings. Nefer meaning beautiful, or that which is good. Yes, sir. So shout out to you, Jay Kirkland.
When I hear his name, I always think about who's that preacher? Atef? Who's that preacher?
Which one?
TD something Kirkland.
Oh, TD Jakes.
No, something Kirkland. He was like a preacher.
I think it's TT Kirkland.
Oh.
Yeah, TK Kirkland. That's right.
TK Kirkland, the comedian. TK, blame it on TK.
Blame it on TK.
Hey, look, can I share my screen real quick? Let me see if I can share this. I want to show y'all something.
Hold on, good brother. Let me go through these
Go ahead.
donations because we're getting close on time. Let's see.
Okay, go ahead, good brother.
Probably overtime now.
Yeah.
Is it like 12 o'clock? 12 or...
Yeah, let's keep flowing here. All right. Next we have Eric G. Eric G sends $13. He says, "Keep up the good trouble."
Okay, whatever that means. All right. Hail to you, Eric G. If you're still in LA, hit me up, brother.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, we definitely appreciate all the support. We appreciate you all. All right, let's keep going. This is another great brother who's in the MetaNetter class, MetaNetter Mondays. If you're not in the Medu class, definitely reach out. Saba Tahuti, mysticaltelevision@gmail.com. His email is at our website, teachingsofmaat.org. Or you can just message us at the teachingsofmaat.org and say, hey, how do I get in the Medu class? And we'll forward you to Saba Tahuti directly. So this great brother is in the Medu class. He sends 2172. He says, for congratulations on the new Rens. Good brothers. Hail. Tua to you, great brother Stephen E. His brother in the Medu class is like Buddha himself. He doesn't move. You think his screen is froze. All right, let's see. Let's keep moving. Next, we have Amun Min Ra Sut Atum. He sends $12 for Hotep Ma'at.
Powerful.
Tua to you, brother. So we appreciate all of your support. Yes, we love to see people who appreciate the information. We love to see those who really appreciate this information because it's life-changing information. So shout out to all of you. And this was an excellent class. This is something that I feel it'll definitely be played a lot of times because the frequency that's attached to it is very necessary at this time. So shout out to you, great brother Ahati, and we'll allow you to close us out, good brother, if that's what you would like to do. Peace and love.
Sure. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. And we look forward to you coming out next week. I believe it's brother ETH Ma'at that is presenting. And he definitely takes us on a wild, excited ride. But we hold on tight to our seatbelts, and we know that somehow, some way, we're all going to get through it together. So that's what we are here. We welcome you to our family. If you haven't already, go to our website at teachingsofmaat.org. Scroll down the first page, all the way to the bottom. You'll see an area to sign up to a newsletter. Put your email in there, and you'll get a free weekly newsletter of what you saw tonight, but summarized into an easy, concise way that you can read on the go, on your phone, whatever. And go out. Also support. We sell merch. Support our merch. We sell these nice shirts here. Go over there, check out our shirts. Get some merch over there. If you want some lessons, especially audio lessons, we have audio lessons and an audio book. And we're going to have more audio books in the future. And I know for me, I love listening to lectures and podcasts and everything on my phone when I'm out and about. So you may too. So I suggest you go over there and get your downloads over there too. And then finally, if you're interested in a membership, get in contact with one of these brothers here. Send us an email at leadership@teachingsofmaat.org and take that step. Do it. Take that step. I mean, what's the alternative? To keep living in the Matrix? You might love the Matrix. I'm not telling you
to not get out. If you like the Matrix and being halfway into this, hey, do it. But I know for me, when I got totally honest, I had to make a decision, and my decision was Ma'at over Matrix. So everybody, be safe, have a peaceful, dreamful night tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Ahati, that is a powerful slogan. I can see a T-shirt from that. That would be amazing. Ma'at over Matrix, the Matrix.
Oh, yeah.
That's fire. That's fire.
Well, man, the talk to is right below you. So.
Yeah, that would be fire.
Nice.
Excellent. Minku, you got some closing words, brother, before we end it?
Just peace and love to everyone. Join us tomorrow in the MetaNetter class. Always very liberating, very empowering. Treat yourself, elevate yourself. Thank you, brothers, for your inspiration and who you are. It's powerful to see you all in your growth. Let's continue to move the movement forward.
Hotep, Scribe, you got anything? Annie Patah?
Yes, sir. The link is posted for our website, teachingsofmaat.org. Reach out to us, any information, any questions, reach out to us, join us in our membership. We're doing excellent things. And Discord, join our Discord as well. We do have a meeting coming up. So be sure to join our Discord, and I'll post that link in the chat as well. And we got a last minute donation in. I'll show that as well. We have Robert E. Williams Jr. He sends 555. For you Neteru are great. Hell all.
Any up
Awesome.
to our brother?
This is last minute.
Last minute. I love it.
It's our Vortex Ninja.
All right.
Peace
So,
and
yes.
love. Go ahead, brother.
Yes, peace and love. Be sure you all implement these teachings today. Write out your goals that you want to accomplish for the week. Read them, take them into the Upesh realm, and continue to work on them then. Take this consciousness with you. Read the Purim Haru if you have it. Read the mantra, the affirmation of Tahuti's affirmation, the Hel Ma'at, and take that with you into the Upesh, and bring forth your ideas into the physical. And that's how you do it. So peace and love, and Hotep Ma'at.
Hotep, everybody. Peace and love. I just want to share something with everybody before I close out. And just show everybody the magic, just a little bit of magic. See if I could share my screen. There we go. Scribe, I told you I was getting good at this screen sharing. Can y'all see my screen? Can you see? Nope. Y'all see my screen? Y'all see me? What do y'all see? Y'all see me standing next to Sekhmet?
Yep.
So, all right, y'all see this picture. So I took this picture in like 2016. I went to visit some family in New York, and I had no idea who I was standing next to. I was just taking random pictures in the museum, but for Sekhmet, I was drawn. Y'all seen the picture? Where I was drawn to her, and I took a picture standing next to her. That's the only one that I have. And then I took a picture of the card that was next to it. This was in 2016. I had no idea that I did that. I didn't even remember, nor did I remember until I saw the picture, and then I was reminded. And then I was reminded of the fact that I was drawn there and what Sekhmet actually meant to me. So the magic is real, guys, because I had no idea. And it was very many years before I actually learned who she was. But I've been guided by the Neter for a very long time, and I just had no idea what was guiding me. I just knew that it was a positive energy, and I knew that it would lead me to greatness. So with that, I'm going to close it out. I just wanted to say tuah for those beautiful teachings, Ahati, and tuah to everybody that appreciates the truth, because I am a defender of the truth. I am a defender of Ma'at. So we're going to close out the beautiful class, as we always do, with our beautiful affirmation. Before we close out with our beautiful affirmation from tonight's teachings, grant thou to me a place in the nether world, near the lords of right and truth. My estate, may it be permanent in the Sekhet Hatep. Peace and love, everybody. Hotep Ma'at. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Unki and Ma'at. Un in S. Nintet or Set in Ma'at. Min Hepapet in Ma'at. Her in Hu Kui. Per Ikut. I live for Ma'at. I exist within her. I do not speak in the place of Ma'at. Every day I advance towards Ma'at. My being is surrounded in darkness. I come forth as conscious light. Peace and love. Hotep Ma'at.
Shed. Closed my eyes, then I woke up back in my bed. I could see my room as clear as looking through a lens. See, I thought I was awake, so then I tried to move, but my body shocked me like I was plugged in a socket. I started panicking and scrambling within my mental. I thought I died and now my body, I'm forever locked in. I was screaming, help me, someone help me please. But there wasn't any sound making it through my teeth. I could see movement in motion, shadows gather around me. How could I close my eyes already closed. Eating alkaline at this time, fasting reads so shocking. I was stuck in a paralysis, fear had me froze. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. I finally started waking up and coming back. I was in the opposite of state's effect. That's relaxed, I grabbed my phone and started to do research. Knowledge of what happened, I was in a lack. Insidious, the movie came direct to mind. Every time I seen this, it was connected to what's not divine. Demons crawling forcefully, holding the body down. Ain't no point in trying to scream, you will not make a sound. Deep within, I knew I made that a reality. The all is mine, I saw it, and so shall it be. I start replacing fear with knowing universe is mental. Talking to my subconscious to wake me up in dreams. Then one day my spirit guides came in so essential. Daylight astral playing loud in my dream helped to set me free. I'm back in paralysis laying on my couch. But this time I was calm, ready to exit out. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed. From what I read, I need to move my arms in front of me. See a rope and pull it, separate and then release. Now I'm out, I see my house is gleaming, I accept it. Looking in the mirror, staring at my car's reflection. I was so ecstatic, flying in every direction. This was months of subconscious reprogramming and redirection. Place my thoughts in my body, wake up, that's what I did. I was reborn from that day so I could start to live. It's time to shed. It's time to shed. I heard a voice in the back of my head. Rebirth, it's time to shed.
But I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it.